is up? Welcome, misfits, one and all, to this episode of Skeptic and Ranting. Is King Charles the Antichrist? Yes, that's right, where tonight we are watching a video from the channel Lion and Lamb Ministries called Messianic World Update. Just giving you an update, just checking in on you. So won't you join James W., who is being summoned from the underlords of hell, and myself, Amy Newman, for a good time worth becoming the Antichrist over. Mwahaha. Woohoo! What is up, everyone out there on the interwebs? I do hope that if you enjoy the show, you don't forget to like, follow if you're out there on Twitch, or subscribe on YouTube, because then you get access to that bell icon, which when set to all will send you reminders to join our premieres or our live streams. Like, what is up, Maria? Woohoo! What is up? Look at the trees, and James Wolfe, and Doorknob Head, and a Nook, and Completely Theistic, and Big Screen Bird, and all of you, Materialist Dan, all of you lovely, mwah, 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 mwah. And I see James has been who. There, ladies and gentlemen, your first evidence of the supernatural, except it was probably Gizmo.
Are you coming in good for them?
I think so. We'll find out. Ladies and gentlemen, tell us all. And hey, we have Satan's little helper right here. I mean, there we go, little ladies and gentlemen. Though, is the Antichrist, is it working hand in hand with Satan? You know, it might be like an Anakin situation. One eventually takes over.
Possibly.
You were the chosen one. I know, that's the whole Antichrist thing. But the freak, thank you so very much. Sending us love and support. Woohoo! Sending love to Freak. I've seen you out and about in all sorts of the debate community. It was great to both not only be modded, but back on MDD. It was fun in the sun. Sending that love right back. And Amy loves you too. Well, I hope they all do. We're sending love right back to them. I like to say, it's funny enough, I say assalamu alaikum to almost every lady that has a hijab, and hopefully it's not in like a creepy bad manner. Like, in my way, yes, my ulterior motive is I want them to feel comfy in like Western society, but then my other ulterior motive is because secular society rocks. Oh my God, I love secular society. Anyway, what is up, everyone?
Good.
Welcome. Oh, James getting summoned back to hell, but that is okay. We sell timeshares there. It's kind of our territory. Hello, humans. The one and only Titan, your anus. Ooh, thank you so much, computer. Sending that love right back. Yes, this is an interesting topic. It's going to come up whenever there is a passing away. Also saw Ralph in there as I'm scrolling back. Yes, and see, this is just scraping of the bottom of the bat. I mean, I think this is one where we can come across on probably sides, because that's the way, not even the spoiler, but the way that you just took it, like to my own opening, that is what gets me. Like, not that it's like, because especially in America, we look at royalty almost as like just the same way that we look at our television celebrities, is we're like, oh, it's them, oh, everyone look at them. And so Kardashian or whoever are celebrities, are real people that and that is the cheesiest, not cheesiest, that's not even the word, the sleaziest part about this stuff, is that it is someone's mother at the end of the day. And so the fact that they are going to, I guess, just take that fact and they just kind of just whoosh it away, and they're like, who can we literally demonize today? And that is King Charles. But what is up, everyone? What is up, Baron?
How's everyone doing tonight?
I hope everyone's doing well. We're going to be sending that. Speaking of which, we will send hello to everybody as they enter. But also, feel free to tag us with your comments, suggestions, and one-liners at Amy Newman or at James W. This housekeeping, of course, is sponsored by all of our supporters like the Freak. Thank you so much for the support with your super chats. Shadow members with our evolving badges that just time. All you need somehow is just time, and the badges just naturally evolve. And you can hit that button right down there and join and become a member. And thank you all of our fantastic members that are also in the description below, or our best way of helping us by becoming a Patreon at patreon.com/Amy Newman, which helps us make even more fun content. And we're going to just quickly shout out all of our the top tier Patreons or supporters while we talk about is King Charles. Is King I want to say Charles or Charles. Charles. Is King Charles the Antichrist? And I can just remember every latest rock star. I mean, does everyone remember when Lady Gaga first became famous? And I imagine that happens with almost every rock and roll generation. She was the Antichrist. Insert whatever.
They used to say she was trained and all this other,
Yes, well, they used to say that. Once again, I don't want to get too political. In fact, I took two politicians' names out of my opening statement but there is a wife that my joke is always people who hate this lady consistently try and make fun of her that she's trans, which is just the weirdest. I'm like, I wish that this person was trans. Ooh, James keeps on getting something back. And he's back again. Hi. Woohoo. But we're also sending love to Oz. They were doing fantastic stream. Last night it was getting, I understand the duality of like Wesley is facing with himself. He's realizing every stream he goes on, he's like, if I talk about religion, it's just gonna make me sound great. But it was a great stream last night. I had a lot of fun. Sending love to Tangang, sending love to not only Oz, but Jena and Biddy Buddha, Shane the Skeptic, Jay Mike, the entire crew. You should be checking them out at youtube.com/The Atheist Network Group. Because we don't schism. were you going to say King Joffrey? Yo, that was a great scene. I guess at this point I could talk about it if you haven't seen the original Game of Thrones. But his choking, but he was such an a-hole. But yes, you're right. You're right. Everyone yes, everyone does have a mother. Remember, it doesn't even matter how terrible that they are. You should respect them, even in death. And that would be specifically King Joffrey, who was may his reign be nice and short, which it was. Also, sending love to Ian Davenport.
Ian.
There. Oh, I'm looking for my bag of goodies, and there's still some in there. It's from the Netherworld. I'm just gonna grab these. I'm like Carrot Top. I can't help it. I have to have my bag of goodies.
She can't help it. Oh,
sit out there.
like your other bag of goodies.
Oh yes, that's a different.
That were confiscated.
Yes. Oh my. But we're also sending love to Ian Davenport, reminding us that the creationists are really silly. Though recently I've taken 2 shots at Flurfs, which has been fun. I have enjoyed both of those.
Who are also probably creationists, but
yes, well, both of them are creationists. I know for a fact after doing at least my opposition research. She's a more liberally theist that is a conspiracy theorist, and he's a more fundamentalist conservative. Oh, back to Satan. And together between them, they are a single conspiracy theorist of all political affiliations. It warms your heart, ladies and gentlemen. And I feel bad because I try to think of my spiceometer. It's hard to get a good barometer. Because you don't want to just ad hominem people. But it does piss me off when these people really do try to sit there and just call everything graphics and CGI and just once again, I feel bad because I didn't want to insult when she brought up the liberally conspiracy theorists when she had a graphics design degree, and I have a degree in graphic design. I didn't want to shit like, okay, that's cool. But once again, that's also not motion graphics. I feel like I should have pressed her hard like it was a job interview. And maybe, maybe that would have been even more of a b-hole. But I wanted to be like, oh, really? What motion graphics program have you used? I would love to know all of the times you've been rendering. But we're going to march forward into grumpy old Cuss. Thanking him because these types of silly creationist, flat earther, conspiracy theory. We are talking conspiracy theory today. Rumor is Charlie is going to sell everything and give it to a porn follower. Hey, honestly, the Monarch is where I want them right now, which is they are a tourist attraction. That's what they should be. And once again, who am I? I'm just a schmuck from another country. And we kind of gave up our ticket to vote. We went to, had the war and the separation. But daddy, mommy, we don't hate you that much. But I think they have politically and legally have separated it out so much that it's like, okay, whatever. So you gotta respect at least, I hear the Tories in the back going tradition. But once again, all I care about is that someone's mom died, and that's now someone's being an asshole about it. That's really my angle. That's going to continue to be the angle of the night. That these people are pariahs. They will pick on anything because it doesn't affect them. And yes, a lot of these people are lay people who, what does it mean for us to pick on royalty? Nothing. But a lot of these people are actually not lay of the earth priests and pastors. They're making money off the invisible product, where we're just trying to hopefully create lovely content that can help inspire non-believers and skeptics like Diana Smith. Diana Smith. It always feels weird to criticize, people making money while you're calling out the people who support you. But you know what? Screw them. Because once again, these people are making... I don't know if we're going to be listening to the opposition opinion. Someone who clearly believes that he's the Antichrist, or at least that's what he's presenting. Because that's the other pernicious thing about people like this, is you never know how much. Was this just a guy who was on the toilet seat and he's just like, you know what? Dude died. Who knows how much my flock knows about him anyway? I could just call him the Antichrist. It'll be a fantastic sermon. When the end of the world doesn't happen and he doesn't rule as Lord and Satan by his side, yeah, I'll just make someone else up. Or I'll just blame someone else, more like.
That's what they
Welcome
basically
back,
do.
Hughes.
Anytime anybody comes into like worldwide prominence or worldwide knowledge or recognition, they automatically pop up on that radar. Oh, could this be the Antichrist? That's been going on for hundreds of years.
And once again, oftentimes celebrities should shut their mouths on things. But oftentimes, whenever a celebrity often does stick their back up and say something, whatever it is, towards a cause that is, I don't know, the equivalent of Save the Whales or whatever, hippie
something
cause
benign,
that probably
that
is a good cause.
Mind.
Well, that almost always is a good cause, but no one really pays attention to because they're paying, they're worrying about taxes and gas and everything. And then that person gets called the Antichrist.
Like, who's the person who is against that, like, the landmine thing? There's somebody, one of them who's, like, really buys, like, prosthetic legs for people hurt by landmines.
Oh, man.
Like charities like
that. Yeah, absolutely. Well, and I mean, you know who I love? And he has, once again, maybe this is showing a liberal and a millennial bias, but I fucking love Jon Stewart. And Jon Stewart has stuck his neck out for veterans for over a decade now. And so a lot of people give him shit, but I've seen him versus politicians. So, I've seen results happen. One. And I will say, I'll even show my unbiased. I hated that I almost made a joke. I almost roasted him in trying to compliment him. But, I tried. And maybe I'll try and make this point. Like, it has to be everyone is in on the flat earth thing. Like, it would also have to be Trump, right? Not to get to my arch nemesis, but it would have to be him, too. Because
he would probably have knowledge if it was all a hoax. I couldn't imagine they would keep. Yeah, they would have to know.
And I didn't even want to see. And I said his name. I was going to say Obama. I was going to say Obama and Trump, and I took Obama and Trump out of my. I didn't want to be polarizing in my open statement, but it would be. It would have to be everyone. It would be even the people I dislike. It'd be the people I like. That's what I dislike about conspiracies. Is that I don't know, on a logistic level, they're so. What it always boils down to is the science is too hard because you weren't taught to it by a professor and or spent like a decent amount being looking at the textbooks yourselves and trying with I'm trying to think of because you don't have to have a degree. But you can't just have YouTubeology. As much as I love YouTube, and I hope that we are creating good content for you to listen while you're painting your house or eating a sandwich or doing a workout, please know that at a certain level, we're skeptics. And if you're skeptics, then You gotta accept evidence from a reliable source.
If that's all that you have, like is YouTube, then the depth of your knowledge on something is not going to be very deep.
Once again, we are not trying to shit on the bite the mouth that feeds. That came out very.
No, you can learn a lot. You can learn a lot from YouTube.
Oh,
you can learn a
absolutely.
lot from Wikipedia. You can learn a lot from a lot of these
and
sources.
Funny enough, Wikipedia was at once a much weaker source than, or at least source analog that it once was when it was first. But an undergrad, they'll bop you on the head at least and give it back to you, hopefully, and say, do it again. Because Wikipedia, even Wikipedia knows that Wikipedia shouldn't be treated as a source. They go to a extreme amount of length to point out this is the source. The source goes down here. Now you click the source. Go do the further legwork yourself that we have already put before you. If anything, they have given you the trail that now you need to just walk.
If you're on it, you're reading, and something sounds a little strange, it doesn't seem like it. Yeah, check the source.
Well, in a weird, it's a wiki. Wikis are older than Wikipedia, but Wikipedia is the most well-known one, and it's just that a bunch of nerds fact-checking each other, which isn't too far away from what the peer review process is that the moment that something looks shady and someone disagrees with you, they can actually start to argue with it. They have different actual, like, certain news posts and stuff, certain political articles while they're happening will actually get harder to change, like during the initial Russian invasion of Ukraine, which that it was, you had to have certain trying to think what the word is within the wiki community. You have to have certain types of rights. You have to have certain types of things. It's not just you can actually you actually do have accounts on Wikipedia. No one signs up for them. I do, but I'm a dork who loves wiki technology, but you should, but you can, and you can have all sorts of fun. And sending love also to Pat Lowinger. And the point is that people like Pat create fantastic research articles, and so that they can eventually be cited as a more precise version, or not a simplified version. There you go, a simplified version on Wikipedia. But sending love to Pat Lowinger, who's doing so much fantastic non-believer content on Tang Gang, on his upcoming. He just did a debate with Terry on the 7-week cycle. And of all the people, there has never been someone, I think, like, I guarantee you, if I say this, he would be like, well, actually, there is someone in this field. In the debate, in our little schmuck debate community, there is no one, I think, more qualified to have that debate. Except for Pat. So that was fantastic. Setting love over anger.
Harry got run over by a Mack truck in that debate. It was ugly. But see, Ralph is triggered by Wikipedia, and that's probably because they openly call parts of Christianity myths.
Oh, well, can I tell you?
Like if you look at the global flood, they'll tell you it's a myth. And
but you know why? Because what he will say is that, I guarantee you, he'll say it's a secular liberal, insert you whatever type of political bias, but they're not. I guarantee you, give me an article on Wikipedia, and we will go into, like, just tell me where you disagree. Because if we disagree, then we should contest it. And people... Where intelligence goes to die. I mean, I know there are even counter wikis. I mean, I go on Rational Wiki. Rational Wiki is my favorite because they are a catalog of conspiracy theory. They are the most, they're like the skeptics annotated version of Wiki. And so I love them. But once again, sending love, Dan. And BMC. And Pat. What's up, Pat? And sending love to Del Masso. as we look for Imperial.
Yeah, you got
Of
it,
which this guy has nothing. This dude, like, it was very quick into his spiel that he brought up 666, and I was like, okay, like he doesn't
What's
need
it?
credence. No, this guy. Spoilers for the.
This guy. Yeah.
Something. Prince Charles equals 666. You're like, oh no, you definitely didn't pull that from your butt.
Freaking who?
Woohoo! Oh my goddess, Disciple Day for $50. We are sending so much love right back to you. He says, I enjoy good conspiracy chat, but need to sleep. So sending a blessing and hope to be able to engage in discussion soon. Woohoo! Nice. I am a skeptic. Christian, welcome aboard. And fan, have a fun night. If you do uncover the Antichrist tonight, be sure to show me love and let me know. Sounds good, Disciple Day.
I think that's the guy, Chris. If I recall, we reviewed one of his videos, like the absurdity of atheism.
Really? I remember.
I think that is him.
Became fan.
If I remember, it might not be. But well, if it is, good to see it back.
So much love, Disciple Day. All I have to say is that the moment that we find out who the Antichrist is, really, you will be the first to know. We'll find out and we'll tell you, as well as all the viewers.
We'll try to get on the payroll.
That's right. Well, yeah. I want to know,
King Charles, how do we get on the payroll? How do we start getting paid to work for Satan?
And once again, does that mean if there's only one Antichrist, does that mean the others get off the hook? Does that mean Soros wasn't the Antichrist? We'll never know, folks. We'll never.
The Bible says there will be many Antichrists. So you can be a little Antichrist, you can be a big Antichrist, but usually they're talking about the big Antichrist who is.
I was gonna say though, if it's not Highlander, then what's the good? I mean, if you're just talking Saudi Arabia, where there's 1,000 princes, I mean, come on.
The Bible's like, he who denies the Christ has come in the flesh, he is Antichrist. So the one Antichrist, he'll do that too, but he'll be more evil than the rest of them. So anyway. Yeah. Oh, Bill Clinton, Biden, they've said Trump, Obama, Reagan, but every president for
everyone.
It's probably
and every pop star. I assume Elvis.
Stars.
I assume Marilyn Manson. What's the lead singer? The guy from Black Sabbath.
Ozzy Osbourne.
I mean, Lady Gaga. AC/DC. We were talking about AC/DC. Rap music. Eminem. I mean, you could call anybody the Antichrist. It's really easy. And good. You know what I also like about this is that there's a lot of skeptic Christians out there. I do. I need to be careful. We need to paint with as few brushes as possible because these guys, the guy that we're about to see tonight, well, it is the snake oil salesman of religion. It is the type of guy who, what are the prosperity gospel? And this is the type of thing that we are trying to really get at the core. So thank you so very much, Disciple Day.
Thanks,
we
want
to send you one more thanks and hope that we are tucking you in for a fun night and hope you have a lovely morning when you wake up. But yes, we are going to keep on jumping into more conspiracy
plowing ahead.
Yeah. This is what is up, Rockin' Woodworks. And everyone else. What is up, Jason Torn? Jason has been doing.
Doctor in the house.
What's it called? I'm gonna keep on sending
you
you
love.
He did
a good after show
recently. That's right, for the debate, and I want to get him monetized now. That's the next goal. We want to get everyone their title.
His channel definitely needs to be a lot bigger than it is.
Boom. But also sending love, Dale Pastel and Dave Gar. Sending love, Dave Gar.
I think tonight, Jason, was that when he had the debate with Taylor, the PhD biology student who's a creationist? Was that tonight?
Yes.
If it was,
I think that did premiere. I think that just premiered.
If anybody is, every pope has been suspected too, James Wolfe, at least since
Indeed.
1500s, after the Reformation. Oh, it was a premiere, Jason. Okay. If anybody recalls, Taylor's the one who on Modern Day Debate was paired up with John Maddox, who said that evolution would be like throwing a turkey leg into a pot of water and expecting a live turkey to come flying out. So that's like the level of intellectualism that we've got from the young Earth creationist side. Yeah.
Indeed.
Way to steal, man. Science.
Well, it is just another version of the,
Dr. Maker.
What is it called? A tornado.
Frog in a blender, tornado in a junkyard.
Yeah, junkyard, thank you, was the word. Yeah. It just comes out a Corvette or whatever. Insert your favorite car. And so, no, that's not what it is. And the turkey, yes, that sticks out just because that was so random. And so, like...
I've never heard anyone make that argument before, a turkey leg in a pot of water. Expecting a live turkey.
It sounds like you're making soup, but whatever you're into. But thank you so much, love Dave Garr, who once again I'll feel like I'll do an after show maybe for every other flat Earth debate. Because though we had a good after show last time, so they're fun. It's just when I talk about these subjects, I always want to go we got to go deeper. We got to go derper. Is that it's about a conspiracy theory mindset. I think we had a gentleman come over in the Discord last night. Was it last night? Was it this morning? Everything's blended together. Bird was there. James Wolfe was there. Pat was there.
All the people were there. Huh?
I'm trying to, there was a few people. I'm trying to remember how many. Might get my Discords blended. There was a few people and a flat earther. Now, the flat earther called out to his channel, and either he forgot that I could see it, or he didn't care, and he was on this flat Earth channel that I'm on. And he's like, I'm about to debate A.V. Newman on this. Well, first of all, I love this. It's basically like, hey, you want to just have a chat and get to know each other and get our worldview together? And then he posts, like, in Flat Earth, wherever the chat. I'm like, sure. He's like, about to debate A.V. Newman on this video. Come join. It's like, okay.
Titan wants to promote his channel. I'm sure that would be
I do have a channel, Amy. Yeah. Titan, you can drop that. It's always, can I say that I know it's always awkward on other channels, though you're a mensch. Because I've seen you are basically, I follow a lot of your things on, what's the word? Protocols on Discord and
Protocols
TOS
of the Elders
chat.
of Zion.
Yeah. Yes, well, that too. I thought you were going to say, well, the Elder Scrolls, but close enough.
Close enough.
But I like to think that, a sister group of Tang Gang, this channel is for hawking as much non-believer or skeptic or whatever the content as you want.
Rational, sane content.
Feel free to not only that, but if you have your own channel out there, feel free to head to the Discord. We have a great way for you to just share as much of your content as you want.
Promote your content, yeah.
Exactly. Because it does.
What did Taylor lie about? He was saying she lied the first debate.
Well, okay. In the debate, I was going to say it was
on another
great
channel,
song.
I guess.
Okay, that different Taylor.
Slightly.
I would have to
subscribe to Titan Uranus.
And you know what?
You don't want to be the last one to
subscribe. Even do you one, baby? Do you one better, baby? Boom. And all right, sending love to Titan Uranus. And just because when I say Titan Uranus this much, I also have to just shout out Stupid Whore Energy somewhere out there on the universe. Just because They are basically tied for the best names on the internet right now. It's hard to pick. It's hard to pick. Though there is someone I see a lot in the ACA shows, I swear on the Atheist Experience, who has the best name ever. And I mean, it's up there. It's up there. But sending love, Dave Garr. Sending love, Scott Duke, who reminds us that other animals and the fact that we are animals triggers them. We are mortal, ladies and gentlemen. It's funny. It's like this weird combo with comedy because, dark comedians often, what they're trying to showcase you in a lot of the dark comedy is our mortality and our death, which you would think aren't very funny subjects, but, pin a guy up to 9-inch, 9-inch nails and he starts laughing. Oh, does he start laughing?
He's got an unusual sense of humor.
The usual sense of humor. But we are mortal.
That we are.
Though I tease and I tease. I think that's horrible. The fact that the Romans actually, that was a thing that they did. Now, once again, that was supposedly for the horrible of the horrible. But I get the feeling, just like our system, that really doesn't really give that's it.
I mean,
use at all. No.
We're told that he was crucified next to two people who just stole something. Not like they killed anybody.
Oh, exactly. Just
committed arson or anything. They stole something, which most of the idea of that being a capital crime today is pretty bizarre. But it was commonplace back then. But to reserve it for a long, drawn-out method of execution, it just seemed like kind of overkill.
Well, and to be honest with you, it just also seems like the kind of thing you do for a story. Oh my! And he just gets crossed, put next to two criminals and
two bad dudes. Well, I mean, at the end of I think it was the Third Servile War, the Romans, I think there was 5,000 slaves. It was a slave revolt who were captured by the army, and they crucified every single one of them down the road, hundreds and hundreds of them at a time.
Speaking of that,
as a warning to any other
only
slave,
in a much more cuddly form. I like that. And welcome aboard, Anuk. We want to say hi to everybody, and we won't always point out
Welcome
people.
back.
I know someone feels the spotlight, so I always feel bad. But I just have to ask. What does that mean? I need to spread his glory because there's a million sexuendos that I could make.
Oh,
but give me one that isn't that. I just need to get his glory everywhere. Just sometimes in the morning, sometimes I'm in a meeting. I got to get his glory out.
Well, according to the Bible, if you remember, the seraphim. The angels, this is they have 6 wings. All they do is fly above the throne of God and say, "Holy, holy, holy is the Lord of hosts. The whole world is full of his glory." They repeat that over and over again. That's all they do forever. What a great job. I mean, I can't imagine how exciting it must be to be one of those. But so according to that, the whole world is already full of his glory. So you don't have to spread any of it.
That's right. Everywhere. You got us. Yes. Unless you're into that, then you can. What are we talking about? Oh my goddess! Wait, no. See, I can't even tell. I got so excited because I thought... So I can't even tell sometimes how the Earth is flat. Let's see. Oh, here we go. I have to. Here we go. The Earth is flat, 6,000 years old, and Amy has royal blood, 50th in the line of throne. One of these statements is true. Dun, dun, dun.
Well,
James, I'm royalty. Yes.
I mean, you're also 30% lizard, so I mean, you're kind of running out of blood for you to be other things.
But just think about this. This has been fantastic. My powers since starting this podcast have grown, surely, but I am now a lizard queen, as we all knew I was, but whatever.
That looks like SWE.
Oh, wait, no, Anuk, by the way, And now I feel bad. I'm pointing you out twice, but now, because I say I'm going to say you hi and goodbye, but don't leave so soon. You're most welcome. Keep on telling us that God's real. We don't want to kick you or ban you. We actually, even though we have potty mouths, and we'll continue to, because the person we're going to show tonight is an asshole. But not you. We think you're great. Oh, got you. Got you. But feel free to come back anytime. We want as many theists as we want, because if our views aren't challenged, how do we know that they're actually, real? Unlike, once again, the flat earther Nathan Thompson, who had the largest flat earth forum, or so he told us, until the servers kept on banning him, and he never used potty words.
Oh no, he didn't. He doesn't allow profanity on his servers at all. So
I know, which they try and use that as like a thing. And so, sure, you don't use profanity, and then you ban everyone. So it's like, cool, you're the worst part of PC. Somehow you found a way to be a conspiracy theorist and politically correct. Good.
Well, that's what Ken Hovind used to do. I think he used to get real. I don't know if he does it anymore, but he used to get really mad if anybody used any type of profanity in his debates.
Listen.
Yeah.
Okay.
No,
we all got issues. He just has very specific issues.
And I figure that the only reason that could be is if he set up an account and just waited for matches to come in, and they just started spamming them with flat earth links just to, like, hey, you want to hang out sometime?
Hey, girl,
yeah, forget about that.
Tell you, I don't know if you know this. I don't know if you care, but I gotta be the one to tell you that the earth is shaped like a pear. Yeah, okay, I'm gonna see myself out now, but that's cool. I just wanted Applebee's for a first one, but thanks. Yeah, I don't think that one worked. But hey, you live some, you lose some. Yes, Ralph. Or you could say just the right amount of sex primates. Because, the funny thing, the way that I view us is that, we got chimpanzees over here, and we got, I can't even say it, bonobos? I can't.
Bonobos?
This is my brain. Bonobos over here, okay? And, chimpanzees are patriarchal, are hyper aggressive and warlike, and that's how they solve things. And I want to say bonobos. Bonobos over here are just matriarchal, and everything is run by sex and very peaceful. And you know where humans tend to be? They tend to be right on in the center. They tend to be right where the sex and violence is. And so it looks completely natural. When I look at humans, it makes complete sense. I know that, to specific young Earth creationists, or whatever, we look like special God's gifts to whatever. But when I look at people like picking their nose and all this, you're like, nah, you know what? Maybe we're more just like regular animals than these people want to pat themselves on the spiritual made-up back for.
What we are.
Indeed.
It's what it is.
But thank you, Scott, dude. Thank you, Rejos.
Thanks, Scott and Rejos.
Bible study. We do a Bible study. I love Karen B. I can't help but have this in my mind now. She does a Bible study where, and I think she has basically someone who's into the Bible, that she's almost the co-host on that. She has someone that she co-hosts a Bible study with on her channel.
But she doesn't know as much about it.
Yes, well, I'm not. I feel bad to Strawman, because who am I to say what people fucking know? All I know is I saw a bunch of him and it was this dude going through them, most of the flat earth stuff she was talking about. But in the title, it did have like not your mama's Bible study. And so it was hard to tell, is this a Christian? Is she great? That's why I go back to the liberal theist. She's like, it's God, but not the God you think she is, which is okay. Okay, cool. But you're still a conspiracy theorist and anti-vaxxer and putting jet fuel memes on your community posts. So it's like,
Chemtrails, yeah, the chemtrails.
Chemtrails.
They're out to get you, Amy.
Indeed. Isn't it lovely, James, when we can just attack superstition? Once again, doesn't matter what your affiliation in politics are. And it also doesn't matter what your science intelligence is. That's what I like. I have a study that I will continue to cite that shows that you can have a high, if you have a low science, but also a low conspiratorial mindset, you will not buy into these things. But if you have a high science, but a also high conspiratorial mindset, what I'm trying to say is, as long as you have, I think I did it backwards there. My brain just went to mush.
It actually works backwards.
Yes. Well, when you have, let me get this correctly now. When you have no matter how much science you have, okay, if you have a low amount of science, but you have a low amount of conspiratorial, you're fine. But it doesn't matter how much science you have. If your mindset is a conspiracy theorist, it doesn't matter how much science you throw at it. The studies show that your mindset seems to just kind of bring that on board. Hi or hive. Hive mind. Also, what's up, Kill Doggy? Bonobos. And yes, I'm being a little, bonobos can be violent, just like chimpanzees can be sexual and stuff like that. Yes. Well, we're all great apes. That's just the shtick that, and we always will be apes. That's the other thing. We're never going to stop. There will never be a child born from a species of that wasn't of its mother and its father. What is up, bald head? We're almost getting done through just myself and James's view on the subject before we get the opposition view and then open it up to the open mic. But keep on sending in all of that love. What is up? I think we said Saffron and Dog, and keep on sending love to James Wolfe and Pat and Titan, everybody out there. And and sending love to Regos and Rachel Holland. Woo! The fabulous, wonderful Rachel Holland, who reminds us that to this day, there's only one group of people who defend non-consensual slavery, folks, and it's religion.
Is it?
It is. Can you think of anything else? I can't.
No, not from any other mindset.
No. And it's also it's a combo. They get away with it because their clean, easy dig is everything gets made better once you're dead. And to like a materialist, that is a horror show. Oh yeah, no, just have as many Auschwitzes until the second coming. No, that'll be great. Peace and respect. What is up, Richard Madison? Another a fantastic theist. That kind of the guy that you're.
Thanks, Richard.
You're the type of guy, Richard, that I know you're always just looking for good interfaith dialogue, just looking for good conversations. The opposite end of the spectrum from the prosperity type of gunk that we're talking about tonight. And
Yeah.
it's not prosperity in that, like, this guy is trying to say that, sure, he'll give you seed donations and you'll make more money.
Although Amy will give you seed donations.
Oh, that's not metaphysical, that's physical. But this guy is the type of guy that makes money off of someone's dead mother. Like, you can say king, you can say politician, celebrity, whatever it is, a gentleman is trying to make money off of the fact that someone died.
Someone died.
That is religion. And he ain't saying good things. Let me tell you that much. No. He's not collecting money for a good cause, trying to think of all the community commitments to community service that I think the Queen gave. And I'm not taking views because I know next to nothing on.
And King Charles, I think he does a lot of work for charity too in his private capacity.
Yeah. Well, I know the general things that I would say a lot of the media said, a lot of things that they do that are stunts and stuff, but a lot of it is mostly, I mean, it's the stuff we find in TMZ nowadays, so it doesn't affect our lives. Yeah. So sending love to Rachel Holland, sending love to all the skeptic crew out there who actually do affect our lives, and also sending love to Senator Cato. Sending love to the separation of church and state, because once again, they actually have an official church over there, but the joke I often get from many people in and around the area is that religion is very boring there, so that because it was in the culture. Yes, it has been watered down to the point where it is no longer harmful, I guess, would be the only proper way to say it.
So since the 1500s, the English monarch has been, one of their titles has been Defender of the Faith, because after the Protestant Reformation started, Henry VIII, he wrote like a treatise, he wrote a quite lengthy response defending the sacraments from a Catholic standpoint. So the Pope recognized the work that he did, and so he declared him Defender of the Faith for defending the Catholic Church. Of course, now, a few years later, Henry wasn't into his wife anymore, Catherine of Aragon. She was getting a little older. She wasn't able to have, probably going to be able to have more kids, and he wanted a son, so he couldn't get a divorce or annulment from the Pope because, for various reasons, the Catholic Church, he couldn't get, because he got a special dispensation to marry her from the Pope. Now Henry was going back to the Pope and saying, "Oh, our marriage is invalid." But like, no, you said that before. You knew that, and then I gave you a special dispensation for it. Now you want to go back? No, I can't do that. And then, of course, she was from Spain, so then Spain would have been upset if he was able to annul the marriage 30 years later.
Jeez, you're gonna upset everybody.
And anyway, so then Henry VIII said, "Well, screw it. We're not going to be under the Catholic Church anymore. I'm going to be the head of the church, and I say I'm going to annul my marriage." So, yeah. So the Pope called him Defender of the Faith, but then as soon as it interfered with his wishes, he threw the Pope out. Yeah. Said, "All right, no more."
No more. And now, even the popes. Hopefully, slowly, surely, the popes are getting even more watered down. But hey, that's what we want.
Very much so.
Continue.
But that was one of the things that... So they've had this title, Defender of the Faith, for so long. And I think it was an interview like maybe 15 or 20 years ago. And they were interviewing Prince Charles then. And he was throwing out the idea of maybe when he becomes king, taking a title, Defender of the Faiths, plural. recognizing that there's a lot of people who have different faiths. It's not just the Church of England. And that triggered a lot of people like, oh, he's going to recognize other religions other than Christianity. And so that kind of got a lot of Christians hot under the collar.
Oh my.
If you know.
Yeah. Speaking of spicy, what is up, Nanaki? Welcome to the Twitchosphere, the stream, in fact, because we're on all sorts of platforms here on the YouTubes and everything. And hey, like I said, I would have to look in more into it. We're about to view someone who literally does view him as the Antichrist, so that would be interesting. Woohoo! But yeah, so feel free to tell us why you think so, if you want to, or keep on enjoying listeing.
Defender of the Atheist, welcome. That's right.
Defender of the Atheist. What is up, man? Well, I think he was joking. I wanted to show that. Where was this accusation is treason? I was gonna say I think we're actually a few hundred years late. We did commit treason, but we had a war and we won, so it was okay.
Yeah.
But that's okay. We actually all the West is basically kind of calming down. That's what I want. Once we get rid of religion, I even hate calling it the West because once like the other continents get rid of religion, they're just going to join us, and it's just going to be called the world. And it's not going to be a one world government. No, that's not what I'm saying either. I'm saying when they get rid of religion,
not in the near future,
people are going to calm the shit down. That's what I'm trying to say. It's that religion has a lot of baggage.
And I think one thing that it's going to illustrate is that these prophecies, these Bible verses are so vague and so malleable that they can apply to, you can try and make them fit to almost anybody, and you can come up with some coherent rationale for it.
It's Notre Dame. You can do whatever you want, because who's going to peer review these guys? Who's going to come back and say like,
yeah, like the guy who kept claiming that the rapture was going to happen like 10 or 15 separate times, and each time it never happened, and he just kept pushing the date back. Oh, okay, I got that one wrong. Sorry. It'll be April 1st next year. Oh, shit. July 3rd the following year. Oh, shit. Next week. But, yeah. Strangely, they always managed to keep cash on hand, even though they were sure that the world was going to end next week. But
you understand.
They didn't spend every last dime they had.
Satan works on cash, but the priests and pastors accept credit. But also, Pat just wants to know, I wonder if I hung a bright and shiny object in front of Amy Newman, if she would start batting it around like a playful kid. But I don't know what you're talking about. Pat, you are... God.
I mean, you see her nimbly jumping from tree to tree and drinking milk from a saucer and then meowing at me.
Why? James, don't try and just make fun of my Pornhub category. What are we talking about? Anyway, sending love out there. Also, Captain Crunch says, while I'm an atheist, I'm not sure most society is morally ready to live without fear of punishment after death. So that's an interesting take. I would disagree in that. I swear this this whole fear of death just causes us so much. So there's only one example that I can think of who is ever good at this, and this is, like I said, my partner and I for DebateCon met, who the hell, why
David
is
Wood.
His name escaped? David Wood. And he is a Christian psychopath. And, like, he's charming and nice.
So he said.
Well, yes. Well, I mean, can I tell you? And I don't want to disparage anyone, because you have to be sympathetic with people. I do not have multiple, as far as I can tell. I'll have to talk to my other self later. But as far as I can tell, I don't have multiple personality disorder. And so I can't begin to tell what that's like. As far as I can tell, I have empathy. I feel like I can be selfish sometimes. I feel like I can be a bitch. I feel like I have some things to get, but I'm not a sociopath. I don't think James is a sociopath. I think that, and so it's hard to truly tell when one is telling us, because to us, I think that's actually really strange. We only see that in movies and stuff, though it exists. I mean, I'm going to go with the experts and stuff. Nonetheless, you know, I think that to just really cut to the point, in my opinion, science creates planes, religion flies them into buildings. And so, you know, you get rid of that fear of death, and then people can just do horrible things without feeling, because they don't feel like they're going to get a repercussion, or worse, they think the repercussion is that reward. Exactly. But yeah, sending love, Senator Cato. Sending love to James. Well, sending love also to Regis. I saw him on the Twitchosphere, which I'm going to send into YouTube. He was going to bed. We are tucking him in. So I'm sending the Twitchosphere also onto YouTube if you would like to join us there. But then...
Yeah. Oh, Richard, I'm not James Wolfe. James Wolfe is... He's one of our patrons.
No, that's right, which is funny because it's James W. Well, technically he is a James W, but he's not James W. What we're trying to say is this is an episode of Rick and Morty. That is what we're trying to say.
Oh boy. It just got real, Amy.
It just got real.
Shit just got real.
Sending love to James Wolfe. We do many episodes. In fact, so late sometimes that you will often see the daytime by the end of the podcast. Sending loves and so much to James, who also does freaking actual research, the thing that creationists, it makes them break out into hives. So sending love, James, and woohoo, see him out there sending so much. And last, but certainly not least, Matt Deeg, reminding us that, well, hey, you know what? Creationist, and this is really the angle I go to with flat earthers. It's where I go with young earthers. They don't have a model. They do not know how to explain how to create a universe, but also a galaxy, a solar system, a planet, which we do. We may not know how to create a universe, but a solar system, a planet, all of these sorts of dynamics, galaxies, solar systems.
A bottle of tequila.
We know why they're shaped that way. Like, it's just so silly once you, like, to not believe in gravity. To not believe in gravity. You can also do a test. Well, the test is often goes, you can walk right out the 10th floor of a building, but then they'll go, no, we believe in falling and magnetism. Okay.
Remember, even during your debate, I think that was Nathan Thompson who said, "Oh, why do you use an example of a balloon? Because that won't sink." Yeah.
Eventually, helium will dissipate. Pickle Amy. Pickle Amy. Oh my goddess. Now I have to make that into a doll. Oh, the new season just came out too, which is fantastic. So sending love. Oh, Preacher's out in there. Hey, Look at that. And look, he's saying King Charles is not Antichrist. If you read blah, blah, I'll give you the answer on where you will see the Antichrist come from. And the answer is Macy's? Huh. I mean, they have decent merchandise, I sold shoes there once, but I can understand. I get you. They have sometimes a makeup section right in there for me. But before we go into the opposition viewpoint, in which we are going to listen to someone who does think that King Charles is the Antichrist.
Yeah.
But I will get
maybe
a sip.
Prince William. Yeah.
Also, someone once asked, I think they saw on a stream, they're like, is she drinking a Four Loko? And no,
She's not Godless Girl.
No, I'm not Godless Girl. This is called I forget how they're sold out of my
Bing.
favorite energy drink. This is called Bang, and it is Rainbow Unicorn. And the only way I can explain this is it's a energy drink that tastes like candy. That is the only way I can.
I thought you were going to say like unicorns.
Oh, I guess. Maybe that's what a unicorn. I recently met a theist who said if the concept of a unicorn exists, So maybe I'm drinking a unicorn.
Maybe.
Who knows?
Not me.
But all right, before we get into the opposition viewpoint in which someone will tell you otherwise, is King Charles the Antichrist? In this episode of Doctor Who, the Doctor has to not only save London, but the entire universe when King Charles is revealed to be the one and only Antichrist. Or at least that's where the hallucinations end from sniffing all that glue. Let me tell you, the Antichrist seems like a popular position. Every Christian and their mother's mother will tell you who they think is the next one. It's like American Idol, only somehow worse for your brain than reality television. We can start with actors, singers, and pop culture icons before we move on to inserting your favorite politician, or hey, your most hated one. Chances are they, at some point, were called the oncoming Antichrist. Sexy. And while it's fun to amuse ourselves of little horns poking out of the back of a prime minister, president, or even king's head, the harder truth is that politicians, along with every other celebrity, are just a bunch of schmucks. I know this because they're made of us. And we're all a bunch of schmucks. We all start somewhere radically different, but ultimately end up somewhere about the same. Which is what you see even with royalty like Prince Charles becoming King Charles with the death of his mother, Queen Elizabeth II, or as I know her, the woman on that tab of LSD. Though, make no mistake, this shit pisses me off to no end. It's easy to call people in power the devil when we're drinking beers at the end of the bar. Hell, comedians should be at the front line of roasting douchebags who need their smugness called out. However, at a certain level, and not to get super serial here, but a man is burying his mom. Heck, even further a generation. Someone's mom has recently been put underground. And the conspiracy theory hacks are out within 15 minutes, selling their metaphorical soul to the people who believe in the literal version. So, is King Charles the Antichrist? No. But what I would really like is for one of these to put their money where their mouth is. You name the date for the end of the world, or the second coming of Jesus, or basically anything supernatural. And I'll bet you $1 or $5 or I don't know how much you're making per year from the flock, non-tax deductible. Because the moment these prophecies don't come true, you know when the world doesn't come to an end? None of these sheep will criticize their shepherd. Though there is a good solution to this. Maybe not being a sheep in the first point. And then hand me over my money. Thank you. And all right. Once again, before we get into the opposing viewpoint, James, the world wants to know, is King Charles the Antichrist?
Yeah, I guess time will tell, but I think that's going to pan out probably the same as any of the other predictions in the past have come out. Nothing's going to happen. The king now, he will probably have a relatively short reign. I mean, the guy's in his early 70s, so 20 years maybe at the most, and then he'll be dead in the ground next to his mom. And then they'll just have to come up with somebody else, right? And this kind of struck me because the Queen died so suddenly last week, and even though, of course, we're in the United States, we still have a great connection to Great Britain. We still are descended from them in a lot of ways. So, I mean, it's our culture, our heritage, I guess, goes back in a lot of ways to that. And then I think it was 2 days after she died, and it was so strange because she was up and walking around just a few days prior to that. She appointed the new prime minister over there, and 2 days later she's dead. Kind of really puts into perspective, like you never know when you're gonna go. It can happen at any time, I guess, especially when you're in your mid-90s. And then I saw Ray Comfort had a video out, and he was asking like, okay. Now that she's lived her life and she's dead, of course, what's the first question a Christian wants to know is, is she right now being tortured in hell? Is she roasting in a furnace in hell because maybe she truly didn't believe? She really didn't believe in God. She really wasn't saved. So maybe that's where she is. It's just such a, we can't even let people mourn the dead. We can't even let people grieve before we, inject religion into it, and then want to question whether somebody is going to be tortured in hell forever for the crime of not believing a certain thing that they were required by a deity to believe. It's pretty silly. And there have actually been Prince Charles. He's been on their radar for quite a while. I think I earliest things I saw, like in the early 90s, mid 90s, I know a couple books came out saying, it's probably him. And of course, there have been books that come out about virtually anybody of worldwide prominence. This one, that one, this one, that one, every president, every pope, Yet nothing ever happens because nothing's ever going to happen because it's all fantasy. It's all make-believe. But be that as it may, the people who are pushing these things are not averse to making a little bit of money off of it. And look, everybody needs money. I mean, we certainly appreciate the financial support we get from those who are able to. But at least you know what you're getting with us. We're not selling any wild conspiracy theories. We're not going to put out a book one day saying one thing, and then when that doesn't happen, okay, we'll just write another book about another one and sell that one. That at the end of the day, they don't really care. A lot of them, anyway. They're just making money, notoriety, and it is kind of strange because, like I say, Christians are always trying to inject their religion, to bring their religion into reality, because it doesn't seem to affect reality at all. So they've got these prophecies in the pages of the Bible, and they try to rip them out of the Bible and apply them to reality, apply them to today. And it usually doesn't work. They force it and massage the text as much as they can, but I mean, it really only convinces those who are absolutely desperate to be convinced, those who want to believe it more than anything. And so they'll be willing to accept any semi-coherent narrative you can pull together. And I think this whole eschatology, this whole end of the world scenario is, I think, one of the more destructive elements of Christianity. I think it, if you truly believe in your heart that the world's going to end or the rapture is going to happen in the next 10 to 20 years, and you start making decisions based on that, it is going to affect your outlook. It's going to affect what you do, how you plan for things. If you truly believe that. If you don't truly believe it, then hey, live your life and do what makes sense to you. But unfortunately, there are a lot of people who really believe it, and they kind of plan their lives around that. And it is kind of disappointing, but nothing ever really happens. And but let's see what this gentleman has to say. I'm sure he's got tons of evidence and reason and facts that will just set us right. And the king is working for Satan. A lot of people have, once they realized that Charles would be in his late 60s or 70s, when that started to sink in that the Queen is not going to die anytime soon, this being like the 90s, 2000s, then they kind of pivoted. Oh, well, maybe it'll skip a generation to William. It'll be him, or maybe Prince Harry, because of conspiracy theories about who his father might be if it wasn't really Charles. If Diana was having an affair, which I'm sure they were both had multiple affairs, but is he the father? I don't know. We'll save that one for morning.
Woo-hoo.
This guy has a yarmulke on there, Amy. If you see that, he is a Torah observant Christian.
And yeah, that is the interesting thing. When I was trying to classify the video, I was like, well, he's wearing a yarmulke, but then he's talking about the second coming of Jesus, and it's kind of like,
Yeah, he's a Messianic Jew, probably from that mindset. Torah observant Christian, sometimes they prefer that title.
And so we are actually going to hear from the opposing view, or rather, today's topic is King Charles, the Antichrist.
So we're starting about a third of the way in, because the first part is just him babbling about current.
Yeah, it's his babbling about his
Iran
views about politics, and I don't really give a shit about his views about politics.
Yeah, it's really not relevant.
Yeah. So, but he starts to. What's funny? It reminds me of the Xenu. I would almost say the Xenu trap. Like, everything sounds normal, and then you have to realize at like a certain point, this sounds kind of crazy, right? With the Scientologists, they have to do a slow burn. He just starts the crazy right about here. And that's where we are going to start it off.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, let us have some fun.
With Israel, where we're watching and paying attention to. So let's talk about the death of Queen Elizabeth. We've been watching for this for a long time. In fact, for those of you who have paid attention to my ministry over the years, for decades, I have been sharing with people that we need to watch Prince Charles of Wales because he appears to be
Very
a candidate for the position of Antichrist or anti-Messiah in the Great Tribulation. There's a lot of reasons for that. And I'm not saying, and I haven't said he is, I'm just
I like how he says...
I'm not saying it's alien. Yeah,
I'm not saying certain things. But I also like how it's like Antichrist or anti-Messiah. Like there's people handing in resumes. It's like it says Antichrist. We're really looking for someone who has a specialty in anti-Messiah, but you're adjacent. And so, we're going to take you as a candidate. Okay.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's aliens, but that's like I'm not saying Prince Charles is the Antichrist, but he kind of is.
Saying that he matches a lot of prophecies and he's worthy of watching. Just for a moment, let me just cover a couple of quick things so you understand the basis of why I've taken that position and the reason why.
And so we are about to find out, dog, from which way this gentleman thinks he is about to find out the Antichrist. I do, however, warn all of our viewers, if you are looking for a good, coherent, rational, reasonable evidence and sources, they will not be precedent, but we are about to get a lot of crazy shit. So that's going to be fun. Woo! What's up, Uncle Vic? Pat says, I wonder if this idiot understands where the yarmulke originates. These people don't care about cultural appropriation while stimulously being anti-Semitic. What the? Yes.
Right.
Well, it reminds me of a conversation you were just having the other day, Pat, with someone, but I would never want to wish harm to, or not harm, unwill towards anyone. We love all of our theist brothers and sisters.
Even Rebel Nazarene coming on arguing about who the real Jews are, who.
But exactly,
that discussion
all of that
episode.
stuff. And I always love how they know. He knows who the real Jews are. I was also thinking about how trying to think how I worded this joke, but if you're really anti
I have shared that information with all of you. If you take the name Prince Charles of Wales, and that is his official name, that was his official name.
Well, wait. Actually,
there we go. And hold on one second. I do have to do my because you can't when you're being like really anti-Semitic, you can't say Jewish person because that just alleviates all of it. You have to be like, hey, you Jew, because if you're like, hey, you Jewish person, it just you alleviate all that hate. Hey, you Jewish person. Oh, it's a Jewish person. You just can't do it. Doesn't work.
So right now, he just said, go back a few seconds. Yeah, I'm going to reiterate what he just said.
Of why I've taken that position and the reason why I've shared that information with all of you. If you take the name Prince Charles of Wales, and that is his official name, that was...
Oh, and I love this. Well, before you even say, I just want to say, this is the quote-unquote science that he's about to do. It's numerology bullshit that people just pull from their butts. But yes, James, right back to you.
So he's saying that Prince Charles's official title was Prince Charles of Wales, but I have his official title until 1952 was His Royal Highness Prince Charles of Edinburgh, because his father was the Duke of Edinburgh. So therefore, that's the dukedom he was title of. Then he got his own dukedom in 1952, His Royal Highness the Duke of Cornwall. And then from 58 to 22, he was His Royal Highness the Prince of Wales. And now he's His Majesty the King. But at no point was his official title Prince Charles of Wales. That's it's close, but it's not his official. It was never his official title like he says it was.
Was his official name. And you translate it into Hebrew. If you count up the value of the letters, and this is
who I'm sure this guy definitely has a degree in Hebrew. And, you know, some of the times the apologists do have degrees, but I would like to just know, you know, maybe what his expertise in this field is. Just highly skeptical.
Prophecy, Revelation.
He also has 4 first names: Charles, Philip, Arthur, George. I guess those aren't factored into it. Yeah, they have like, because they don't take last names. They have multiple first names. I guess if he had to take a last name, they usually use Mountbatten, which was the surname of Prince Philip before he became the Duke. But yeah, Charles, Philip, Arthur, George. Work that into your gematria.
The number of his name equals 666.
Oh, you can hear Discord?
And it's
Yo. So sorry to all you out there. I'll keep playing and I'll get that rid for
the value of the individual letters. This is a very known system. Hebrew uses a gematria system where certain letters in certain places of the alphabet have certain numerical values. So when you put a word together, there is a certain numerical value that comes with the word or the name. Prince Charles of Wales in Hebrew equals 666.
The Discord notification should
just
be
like
gone.
what the prophecy said.
Sending love.
Furthermore, if you take that gematria system and you apply it to the English alphabet and you calculate it there, Prince Charles of Wales in English equals 666.
That's how you Antichrist.
If you translate it back into Italian and then maybe Mandarin Chinese, and then you put it on a Chinese menu and you have people order off of it, and then you get the number for those combos that they're ordering from, and that also equals 666.
Then you have the dog pick out one of their numbers, and then by then, your local psychic tells you that this is just not your lucky month, but the next one will be. Yes,
yeah,
exactly.
Your ex-wife is the Antichrist.
Am I the only one getting a Harold Camping vibe?
Yeah, a little bit. But hey, just send him your money. I'm sure it's for a good cause.
Exactly. Listen, this is the guy you need to trust with the end of the world.
I'm sure he's got an interesting line of beard care products.
I know, exactly.
You could
a lot of man care.
Order Nathan Thompson some.
Make it snuggle.
It's not beard balm.
Needless to say, the odds that you could have a name in one language using that gematria system and translate it in a whole nother language using that gematria system, and the two numerical values matching is off the scales. It's astronomical in the calculation.
Not even give us
That's enough to get attention to.
Yeah, on a scale from 1 to astronomical. Wow, thanks.
They love playing around with these probabilities, and they like, oh, what are the probabilities that a protein could form? 100%, because he's LARPing as Jewish, Mark. He is a Christian, but he is wearing some garments.
So we are talking about a gentleman who thinks that King Charles is the Antichrist. I guess that would make us the opposition viewpoint.
He's on Satan's payroll. He is working for the devil.
Indeed.
To him. And essentially that's what happened to me, is I wrote a computer program that would do these calculations, punched his name in with
Really? First of all, this story just keeps on getting more outrageous the more... He punched the numbers. Not only did he punch the numbers, he created the algorithm, and then he created the program that ran the algorithm. And take his word for it. He definitely found out that King Charles was the Antichrist. He's got a buddy at IT.
No expectation whatsoever, and bang, there's the number. That's what put me on the path to start watching him and paying and learn more about his life. To go hand in hand with it, him being in the royal family, there's a lot of symbols.
And yeah, this is what I want to get to, is like, how is he doing any of this? Remember, ladies and gentlemen, where the teacher was like, show your work? I get the feeling all the, like, you can't see it, I'll show. I get the feeling this paper at the bottom just has like a picture of King I want to say Charles. Why do I want to say
King Charles with
King
devil horns on it?
With just devil horns drawn over it. Sharpie.
Well, let's see. Here, Skywatcher, he says that they would use the name Windsor, but there are people in the family who have taken last names, and sometimes they do use Mountbatten. Sometimes they hyphenate it, like Prince Harry's children, their surname is Mountbatten Windsor. But I mean, they could just do it. They just do whatever they want. I mean, it is, yeah.
Yeah, you would think if these dudes could actually do anything, prophesize anything, they would do something useful. But no, instead of picking lottery numbers, they have a way of getting money out of people, though. Oh, do they ever?
The coats of arms, the heraldry that's associated with him. If you go into his coat of arms, which is very public and very well known, and is controlled by what's called the College of Heraldry, which has been around for hundreds of years, he has the Revelation 13:2 beast that is described in the Bible. It's in his coat of arms. It's called the heraldic beast. It's a beast that has a combination of a body of a leopard, the feet of a bear, the mouth, head of a lion. That's exactly what Revelation 13:2 described as being the beast that would come forth. That's in his calling card. That's his coat of arms. That's the flag that's waved whenever he appears.
Sup, Norfolk?
Now, with it is another symbol.
King Charles, you automatically think of that animal, right? I mean, it's his calling card.
But this is, once again, it's one of those things where they see an object and then they have to read into it. Like, it could be that this is a symbol of a demonic creature, or it could be that it was just because we have history of different family dynasties picking different animals, different things being as their banners, and they
combine them.
Yes,
so like if your grandparent had a bear and your father had a tiger, you might morph the two together to show respect to both of them. I guess it doesn't mean it's actually there. And just for the record, the ministry L&L is Lion and Lamb, even though there's actually probably dozens of ministries with that name, but that's.
Yeah, this is the equivalent to him, trying to. I hate to say read like into like an NFL or any type of sport event mascot. Like, oh my God, you can see that the Devils are coming out. I guess that'd be too obvious, but like, I don't know, any type of crazy animal. The Dolphins, they're coming for us.
And Revelation 13 continues to say the red dragon is what gives him his great power, throne, and
oh my God. He's finally giving spoilers away to Game of Thrones. I think. I haven't seen that far.
Authority. Prince Charles' whole authority, his whole throne, is based on being the heir apparent, and the red dragon of Wales, because he's the Prince of Wales, is the symbol. In 19...
Once again, it's great that this guy has a a little mic going on. He's got green screen. It's a clean, even with a beard, clean shaven. But everything that is coming out of his mouth could be said with like a paper bag, with like just holding this up and just going, King, you don't understand. King Charles is the Antichrist. And I have met him. And he's gonna same thing. This is a cleaned up version of the same shtick.
Curry.
Yes.
69. When Prince Charles
69.
went through the investor, he received the crown and the title of being Prince Charles of Wales. And you can look this up. There was a great celebration at Carnarvon Castle down in Wales, there in the United Kingdom. And Prince Charles is sitting in a throne chair that has this emblazoned red dragon in the back. There's a banner, a hanging banner, shade banner, up over the top of him, which is a red dragon above him. The moment that...
Listen, that's right. Good movie. Or I was going to say, no, the House of Mark Targaryen, or the seal of the Targaryens. We get it. House of Dragon. I'm into it. He's a fan. Ladies and gentlemen, I get it now. This has been just a really niche underground ad campaign for Game of Thrones. Oh,
performance
HBO, art. You tricky.
Queen Elizabeth put the crown on his head to make him Prince Charles of Wales. She quoted Revelation 13:2. This dragon has now given you your great power, throne, and authority. She quoted.
I find that hard to believe that that's a literal quote from her. But
oh yeah, well, I assume he's quote lining, and just
that seems a little. This dragon gives you, and she's quoting Revelation. I find that a little suspect.
The prophecy. Now, if you go further into Prince Charles, I have categorized all the prophecies about the Antichrist down to about 40 of them. Only 20 of them can really be used at this point prior to the Great Tribulation to potentially identify.
He's got a lot of amazing facts. 20 great facts that he's about to, he's about to share maybe almost one. In fact, who really needs facts, ladies and gentlemen?
So many. It's just so facts. Much of it. Yeah.
A candidate. There's still a whole nother set of prophecies that when you're in the Great Tribulation that he will be doing. So we have a limited set of detailed prophecies that we can use to look at candidates for who could be the Antichrist. And all I've ever been saying is that he fits about 20 of those prophecies. And I think he's worthy.
Also, I just want to point that out. Isn't that kind of funny? It's just another thing to point out. Has he been the Antichrist the whole time? Or did he have to come to power as the Antichrist? Was he just was he just chilling and then at 70, he became Antichrist? Once again, my parents are 70. I'm not trying to shit on 70, but once again, God and everyone else just seems to be taking their goddamn time. It just seems very odd. A late bloomer. Listen, this is his first time being Antichrist, James. Come on.
Of being watched. Well, now that Queen Elizabeth has died, he has now transitioned from a prince to now a king.
And first of all, not an ounce of empathy in that statement. But I just get excited when anyone says the
guy's mom just died, which has to be the hardest thing for anybody to go through in their life.
Exactly. Well, and this is another thing. Once again, not to get too serial, but it should always be best scenario, and is that a child will always bury their mother and father. Okay? Why? because it should never be the other way around.
Right,
It should
right.
never be the child mother and father has to bury their child. It is a rite of passage. It is a painful rite of passage that we must bury our our mothers and fathers, and it is the right one. Nonetheless, this shit just pisses me off over and over and over. But yes, he said the word transitions. That also makes it funny to me. Also, that in between there too, as a cherry.
And oh, by the way, the prophecies about the prince are clearly prior to the Great Tribulation in the Bible. The prophecies of him being a king are associated with the start of the Great Tribulation and being in the Great Tribulation.
Right. Isn't even his final form. Also a shout out to the new Dragon Ball Z movie, which came out, which is awesome. Okay, that's the end of this geek moment, sponsored to you by Dragon Ball Z.
So the fact that he's now become king, we now are going to begin to look particularly for this.
Now he rules on the Iron Throne. From here he shall control all of Westeros, but what lies beyond the wall is the true terror. I'm sorry, what were you saying, James?
I was just, do these people really, do they really expect that like a week from now, Prince Charles is going to fly to Jerusalem and like proclaim an idol to the devil? Yeah. Oh, maybe. And force everybody in the world to worship Satan. I mean, does that even seem like
he's going to be Comcast? I'm just kidding. What? Well, we love our providers.
But can you imagine that? It's just the thought of it sounds so stupid that,
Yeah, what angers me about this guy is I know in a year or two he will forget that he even made this claim. Like, this is the type of shit that these people pull. This is the difference between a liar and a bullshit artist, is he's never going to have to remember this. If someone ever interviews him and gets a fucking microphone in front of his face, 5 years from now, because I think Charles he eventually... Died. Yeah. The world is still here, and it doesn't seem... Well, yeah, I almost didn't want to bring up that point, but that too. Wouldn't that solidify it? The world's still here. He died. And then this mother, for whatever reason, also is still living with us, and they shove a microphone in his face. Will they say, "Hey, were you wrong? Were you wrong?" And he'll go, "Oh no, you just have to understand, God works in mysterious ways. It's just and maybe he was an agent of Satan. He was only an agent of Satan in this way, but the true."
He was working for the Antichrist, but he wasn't
the true Antichrist. Is here, right? Yes, the lowercase, like you were saying.
Maybe they'll just switch to Prince William when he becomes king, when Charles dies, and say, "Oh, it's him."
They'll always find someone new because it's insert celebrity, often political. This is a weird one because it's a celebrity in almost the TMZ way. It's a political in the way that we know, and it's a political in a way that I think for many Americans don't really understand. And so it's like this whole mosh. But what it isn't is the ending of civilization and the world for the second coming of Jesus, so that King Charles can reign as Satan, or at least the anti-Messiah ally.
I mean, can you just imagine him saying in a British accent, like, "You must worship the devil, you must worship Satan," in a perfectly posh British accent?
It would be
you have to worship Satan, or I will kill you.
Well, I was just listening. Where's the K and Peele? Reminds me. I was just listening to him do a posh. I listen to so much K and Peele that it becomes relevant in an episode.
Cheerio, good day. Time to worship Satan.
Time to worship.
We met B-Boy Joseph in Atlanta, GA.
I can't show the whole thing, but I just want to show his...
Start the music.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a no.
My mama's on.
Very apparent, as it turns out, Joseph. So, thank you for coming.
You know that my mama's on drugs and my daddy in jail.
It's not really relevant.
Born in a coffee can under a bridge.
That's terrible, Joseph. That's awful, but it's not going to.
My sister shot my brother while my cousin beat my uncle.
Okay, now it's
You
a
know,
lie.
it's a little bit much.
now.
Joseph,
Okay. Yes, but I just wanted to actually break something that made sense in. We can go back to the comedy.
Yeah.
He's going to be rising to power now on the world stage. I've shared with you
Is he
before,
though?
we have this thing
Or
going.
is he going to be? This is the other thing that I thought about. The word that I view them as is like glorified pageant contestants. Like, he's going to be a very handsome gentleman going like this now. Fantastic. Fantastic.
On in the world right now called the Global Reset, the World Economic Forum. And there's these world leaders that are coming together.
Yo, Kay and Peele are about to release a new movie together. You should all check out the trailer for Wendell and Wendell. It is I almost want to show it because it's almost on topic. It is by the creator of Caroline and the same people that made Nightmare Before Christmas, and it has to do with a little girl coming across two demons. And so she discovers two demons, and of course, who are these two demons played by? I'll let you figure that out. But yes, coming soon. Trailer already released, ladies and gents.
Well, you just said, go back 1 second.
Sure.
To power now on the world stage. I've shared with you before, we have this thing going on in the world right now called the Global Reset, the World Economic Forum. And there's these world leaders that are coming together, and
All the
they're
world leaders are
announcing
coming
that
together.
next year they want to do this global reset.
Also, they can never quite pick. Is it when we're all warring each other that we're being controlled, or is it when there's global peace and everyone comes together that we're being controlled, right? Gets a little hazy.
Who is that guy in the? Oh yeah, well remember in Genesis with the Tower of Babel, there was peace and harmony and everybody working together. And God said, "What the fuck is going on down there? I better stir shit. I better start some shit because they're all being nice. They're working together for a common purpose."
Also, Randolph says, "I sincerely hope these two demons are played by Cheech and Chong. That would be funny. They will totally burn the house down." I would almost like do a trailer commentary, but we're in the middle. So, but it really is great. You guys should check it out.
Maybe post a link.
Yeah, why not post the link? And I'll do that while we keep on going.
This is to change monetary policy all throughout the world, move to digital money. Each individual nation will not be having their own money. And governments will then basically submit to a global kind of control for the world. And it
We must all
includes
submit
climate
to
change
King
and all of
Charles.
these other.
We must all blindly submit to King Charles. I'm just getting that message beamed into my head from Satan, I guess.
Oh my God, this is a little bit more painful than the Soros version, but it works. Okay.
It's like when Satan sodomizes your eardrum again.
Oh, see, this is so good. I almost want to play. See, I'm gonna send it, but now I can't. We're allowed to do commentary. I can't help it because it's on topic, ladies and gentlemen. It's demons. We'll just do this real quick. You won't even feel it. It's too good.
Cat, time to face your demons.
And we'll just do commentary. So we're talking. And I just love stop motion.
No.
Nightmare Before Christmas and Caroline. And I love that can produce now. He's got money, baby. That's right.
Who are you? What are you doing in my dream?
We are Wendell and Wyatt.
Who?
Got nuns, ghosts, and demons. And Netflix does such good stuff.
Everyone's got demons.
But you know what?
My demons have names.
Wendell and Wild.
Woo, I might have watched that a few times. I love it though. But yes, once again, back to comedy. Cough, cough.
Worldwide globe.
In fact, if you just joined us, we are talking demons in a way. Demons and antichrist
Satan,
and anti-messiahs and just anything that we can throw negatively at a guy whose mom just died. Picky, picky, picky.
Obviously, the work of Satan.
Obviously. Except for I worship Saturn, who is 50% softer. It was just a great deal.
Global issues. And at the moment, that the leaders, the elite of that group, there's a dozen or so people that are up at the upper echelons of that,
cabal,
trying to orchestrate and
The
get
inner
that
circle,
going.
Satanists.
And Prince Charles is in the midst of them. He's one of the guys running around in this handful of people that's
Sacrificing
up to do
babies.
this. His prestige and his influence is going to rapidly increase as a result of becoming a sovereign king.
Ooh, you're right. Just to interrupt that, I will say that you're right. It absolutely does sound like the Phantom of the Opera. Now that you're right, man, it's like a rock version of it. But thank you so very much, Randolph. And I'm sorry, I'll turn it back, James. You were about to have a point on what he just said. So before you have your point,
I forget what he's.
And his influence is going to rapidly increase as a result of becoming a sovereign king.
Does that trigger your memory? I couldn't help it.
I mean, I would just say that I think if he was going to do something, they would have done it, before he was in his 70s. I mean, in between noontime naps and going to bed at 8 o'clock at night. I mean, I don't know how much time he's got in the day for.
Well, they act like
the whole Satan thing.
They act like, once again, to continue my geekery, they act like he's a Sith Lord. Like he holds his, his lightsaber and his Jedi mind tricks power, when I'm pretty sure this guy spends much more time playing bingo or like Monopoly with his parents, not like the actual honing of Monopoly, but like they used to long time ago, but now it's more just like the actual board game version.
Yeah.
He's going to be able to use influence in a much more powerful way. I would remind you of one of the prophecies of the Antichrist and how he comes to power. He has no power of his own, but he has influence. And this is the direct quote from Prince Charles. He was asked, what can you do? He literally quoted that verse and said, I have no power of my own, but I have influence, and you'll have to see what I do with it. And it's very clear that Prince Charles is not set back.
He can promote the causes he cares about. He does have influence. That's true, but
first of all,
depends on the scope.
We would have to actually see the quote, because I have found just like not to go back to a flat earth point, but people read intent into things that were not there, for better or for worse. Someone that I was talking to says, when this scientist uses the word science, isn't she being condescending? It's like, no, she was not being condescending when she said we're just trying to stick to the science. That is just a fact. That is what she's doing as her job.
Well, I mean, like even the thought that like any British monarch would wake up one day and decide to dissolve the parliament and rule the nation themselves is kind of unthinkable. I don't think that would ever happen.
I mean, it is a Star Wars movie. What's it called? George Lucas. If you probably ask him, he was writing a political drama. Okay, but it was a Western in space. Okay, yes, it was that too, which is kind of cool.
I think in a way, like a lot of people, like they criticize the concept of a monarchy. They like particularly for us in America, we've never had a monarch. It's never really been part of our cultural ethos.
That's basically been our. I feel like not having a monarch has actually been our shtick. It's not only that we are like no monarch, we are like our whole thing was anti-monarch. I think we've kind of chilled just because a piece of us is
so
chilled.
Long.
Yeah, at this point, it's just we all join on Zoom or Discord or insert your. If this podcast airs in 10 years' time, whatever insert your thing is. Now it's just flags. Like we're just a bunch of random tickets. It says United States or Finland or Sweden or South Africa or just says random shit.
Yeah. There is something, though, to be said about the concept, the idea of having a head of state who stays out of politics, because politics is messy and you've got both sides slinging mud at each other nonstop.
Sure. Well,
everybody's going to get mud on them at some level.
Can I tell you? I mean, that's almost it's sure. I feel like that's what a politician's job should be. Politician's job, the best is that there's the worst of them draw us apart, the best of them draw us together. That's like my defining line. There are some on both sides, on all sides, that do that, and there are you could just feel a good guy when they're trying to do good guy stuff. But you're right. I mean, that's a position that has neutralized itself. As many people in chat were saying, if it wasn't a constitutional monarch, which is a politically correct phrase for me, if they didn't have a constitution, there you go. They didn't have a constitution, but they do. They have a constitution. They have all the rights. And now the monarch is this. This is the monarch. Hi, we're waving. It's tradition. Tradition. Okay, tradition. Fine. Cool.
And they like it, and it's still popular. I think probably 80% of people, 85% were for the idea of retaining it.
It would be different if they didn't have a constitution. It would be different if they hadn't have a whole bunch of hard fought powers otherwise. The Enlightenment happened. Now, how we got your Enlightenment freedom may have been through different ways. Australia and Canada will say, well, we got our freedom just in a different way than you got ours. And I view them as like our sister countries, just like you were saying. We got, mommy and daddy is up there. Though the thing I like about, the United States and a lot of countries these days is that we are becoming melting pots. I actually like that. Once again, they'll just go globalism, in which case it somehow gets back to the Jews somehow. But really, it's just that freedom-loving ideas means that you're going to have people melting pot.
Yeah. So, like in the United States, so we have our head of state is a politician. So basically, at any one time, you have about half the country who absolutely despises our head of state. There's nobody at the top to rally behind, who supports them, who they absolutely think it's the worst person in the world. And maybe it'll be your guy next time and you can be happy for 4 years and the other side will be upset. But, there is something, I think, to the idea of having an apolitical figurehead, or even though they don't really exercise much power anymore.
I also think that it's also a great job for ex-politicians. So I think that our exes, when you leave office, Like
That's true.
So almost like the Reagans and the
Bush
Obamas,
and Clinton did a lot of
Bushes
things.
yes,
even though
those. Hopefully, at that point, you're not gonna win anything. You're done. So if you are giving a voice at all, draw us together, ladies and gentlemen. One, but yes, back to I would say modern Santa Claus. Yeah.
As purely a ceremonial royalty, he has been active in the edge of politics. He's been active in environment.
I thought you were gonna sing "On
No.
the Edge of 17."
Issues, even architectural issues, and he's involved in a number of activities.
Doesn't this sound like pure evil?
Some political leaders.
He's with architectural issues. I mean, he promotes organic gardening. The horror.
Oh my God! Once again, like,
Satan.
Is he grabbing like lots of machinery and going Maverick style and starting countries? Like, is he empirically conquering things again, or once again is he mostly in a suit, just basically sitting in front of a dog and taking pictures? Look, it's a corgi. Okay, time to post it on the Queen and King's Instagram. Oh, no. It's world ending.
Been agitated by him doing it because he has so much prestige and so much influence over so many people. Well, he's now elevating that up to the global, international level. I would expect.
That. Really. He's now, once again, first of all, as if his mom died, so now he could take over the world. Like, right. He was just waiting. And now he's somehow going to outsource what?
Yeah, like I just imagine him flying to Jerusalem, getting out of the plane, going to the Temple Mount. You will all now worship Satan or else. Oh, yes, King Charles, we will now worship Satan as you command.
Yeah, like Satan. Loki in the first Avengers.
We love you, Satan. Please take us to hell with you. We reject Christianity. We love you, Satan. I guess.
That now, as him becoming king, his ability to influence that upper group of people at the world elite level is going to increase.
You ever see King Ralph from the 90s? That was a fun.
Let's talk about the specific prophecies that talk about how the Antichrist comes to power. He comes to power in the midst of 10 rulers. Oh. He's different from them. He's the 11th one. He rises in the midst of them.
What? Once again, he's
talking about Revelation.
Because is he? So this is the what? How does he know what is the 11th ruler? How did he decide that
the 11th is called? Well, it's saying 10 horns and then one little horn. The little horn is like referred to.
Sure, but what are the 9 before? Were there 9 kings before?
7 heads. Yeah, he's a god. I guess he's going to lay it out.
This is third king. Yeah, please, because as far as I can tell, it goes 1, 2, 3. But maybe I'm getting this out of.
7 of them are uprooted, the prophecy says, and then 3 of them are uprooted, and then 7 give their power to him.
It's going to be peer reviewed later.
And that's when the Antichrist comes to complete power, and
I was hoping he was going to say to completion, which would have been the end of the video, but he's still going.
When the world will know that he has come forth. Now, we know that's associated with the start of the Great Tribulation.
Of course.
Let me remind everybody about that.
Oh, please do.
What is the prophecy that tells us about the start of the Great Tribulation? It's called the Abomination of Desolation. There are 2.
I see. I thought that was the Abomination versus the Hulk. A great
That's
battle.
Where Amy goes to the Temple Mount and has sex with King Charles on the Temple Mount. And they call that the Abomination of Desolation. And they together sacrifice.
That's right. See,
sacrifice
the problem
something.
is, I wish they called it that, but they actually called it the Abomination Solemnation 6. There was actually 5 more. God, I know. I thought I was the original. It turns out there were 5 more of that exact same director on Pornhub.
2 components to the abomination of desolation. Number 1.
6.
There has to be an operating altar in Jerusalem on the Temple Mount doing the daily sacrifice.
Okay, now you're just LARPing.
And he just stopped. It's called the cessation of the daily sacrifice. That's number 1. Number 2, the prophecy says, there has to be an image of the Antichrist that is set up on what's called the wing of abomination, which means to the north or to the...
I'm definitely sure
coming together
that's the
for you,
final level of a boss battle. It is. It's all starting to make sense. Look, we are in the Lord of the Rings. This makes sense. Modern Santa is starting to finally bring it all together for us. I think this is actually Peter Jackson with a different, with a different pair of clothing.
South of that cold altar, an image is going to be set up at the Animusai, and the world is then call him the Savior of the world, and everybody's supposed to worship him. And
King Charles is our Savior.
Yeah, I was going to say.
We worship you, King Charles.
Oh, King Charles. Oh, King Charles. Can you pay my taxes? Do you got $5, King Charles? Anything? No?
I mean, does this sound even like in the same universe of reality that we live? But he really thinks this is going to happen. This is a likely turn of events. It's just so silly what religion does to people.
Yes, we don't want to ruin his precious, but it is religion on the brain. This is what happens.
Is he flashing the Illuminati sign right there?
I know. Oh my God! He's secretly giving us a symbol.
He's in on it.
But it is the kind of stuff, the kind of mentality that we get from conspiracy theorists and religious people, fundamentalists. Woo-hoo, hoo-hoo.
LNM.
And it is blatantly obvious to the entire world who the Antichrist is. Leading up to that moment, we are simply watching carefully and closely. Do we see him satisfying the prerequisites to
Oh my God. Okay. Damn it. He said prerequisites. I was hoping that someone would just say just satisfying, but
rise to power. At this moment, Prince Charles, becoming King Charles III, is on the pole position of all world leaders, all nations, presidents, everybody.
I just like you and I sometimes. It must be.
He is on that pole, Amy.
You get James. He has been working that pole day in and day out. He is. I feel it.
Do you become the ultimate world leader? If he decides
ultimate world leader, it always goes back to one world government. Like it's always their shtick.
Like they need, after Jerusalem, I guess he'll fly to Beijing, China. He'll fly, then he'll go to North Korea, and Kim Jong Un will worship him, and then he'll go to Moscow, and Vladimir Putin will prostrate himself before King Charles and worship him.
My,
in a bikini.
Dad,
Vladimir Putin in a bikini.
Modern Grandpa Santa.
Randolph Richardson will then worship him, I guess.
I just do not understand, like, what King Charles gets from being the Antichrist. I guess you just gotta win over for your Lord Satan or Saturn, 50% soft.
Yeah, that's it.
Now that's what the prophecy says. We're going to continue to watch to see exactly what he does. So let's talk about some specific things that we might see here in the next few days.
And I will say, though, this is his wrapping up of his, because this is actual predictions. What is about to happen, if you have just joined us, we are talking about, is King Charles the Antichrist? We have someone who thinks, but this dude is about to do what I think is the equivalent of putting out the billboard, like on I-95 or I-695 that is like end is near. And not only is it end is near, it is end is near at this time. This dude does what is my opinion the dumbest thing ever, which is he actually puts like a timestamp on a prophecy.
He makes a date on
in
it,
his own lifetime. So we'll just let him do that, and we'll see how well this ages. Sending love to both the
It
live
ages
stream.
better than him.
Yeah, I know. Sending love to both the live stream audience, and I assume any audience that is going to watch this podcast past the year that he says. Also, what's up, Wild Eden, and everyone out there? Woohoo! Sending love also to the queen of production of Tangango, to Jena. And yeah.
Pat has a question for you.
Oh, absolutely. Is this guy part of the same group of assholes who a few years ago launched a huge evangelical campaign on the day of Yom HaShoah? I need to figure it out. And I imagine
wasn't aware of that.
I have no idea. I don't know either, but I would imagine that these guys are that type of people. Everyone's got a shtick. So you can see the Hebrew letters. He's wearing a yarmulke, and yet,
Oh, it's a day of Holocaust. Okay, it's a day of remembrance for the Holocaust.
Oh, I should have known.
I thought that because the movie Shoah.
Shoah. I should see. Yeah. I should have known that because this will sound terrible, but this is how long I've spent around Nazi. But they will go. They'll go. Oh, what a Shoah! That is basically a insult. Going, oh, what a Holocaust! So I should have known that. I just it didn't hit me in the face. But yes, what is up, everyone out there? Just sending love, continuing Randolph and Pat and Ian and Mary and Jen and Adam and Wild Eden and Randolph and Mark and everyone out there. Hillary's emails, Aaron. We're going to continue down into the end and then go to the open mic. But oh my goddess, a $5 super sticker with Ian Davenport giving us a celebration of thanks.
Thanks, Ian. Appreciate it.
Sending that love so much right back to you, Ian. All of that support gives us the encouragement, the love, and also
keeps us going.
Keeps us going, and more fun props. And hey, I'll tell you, ladies and gents, I will say if you have any props that you think are fun out there, always feel free to send them in chat. I was given the idea to once get a wish list. I should do that.
Junior said that we should have like an Amazon list of stuff.
Ding ding ding! Yeah, I should do that. That'd be fun. Just because I want to continue. Slowly transitioning into Carrot Top. That is my goal in life, I believe.
But how many thousands of pages of various dildos are you going to put on the list for them to sift through?
Mm-hmm. James, the world is my oyster, and a common joke is anything is a dildo if you're brave enough.
There you go. Special hammer there.
That's right, but sending so much love to Ian Davenport. And all right, we're going to land in modern day Santa is going to explain to us his actual prophecies.
I can imagine them being like for the Holocaust, like, oh, this day we remember the Holocaust. But guys, you should really all convert to Christianity so you don't go to hell.
It always goes back to that. Well, and once again, this podcast is both a mix of humor and super serial. So my super serial of this moment is that on the walls of Auschwitz, written in what, please forgive me, is either blood or the nails
scratched into the wall.
Into the walls, says, if a God exists, he can beg me for forgiveness. And so that's really relevant in my mind when they try and use that type of shit.
And that's the thing. It's like, remember, we've heard it how many times in the Old Testament? How many times did we hear how God rescued his people from Egypt? He got them out of the land of Egypt. Did he show up in the 1930s when they were being rounded up and sent to these camps? Did he lift a damn finger? No. Did he do anything to free? Did he say, Hitler, let my people go? No, he didn't say shit. Who liberated the camps? The American military and the Soviet military, largely.
Who actually, once the not only that, once the destruction was run, who fulfilled prophecy and actually created Israel?
Oh, yeah.
The United Nations. So the United Nations has fulfilled prophecy. Now, there's probably a conspiracy theorist out there that's like, they worship the United Nations. No. That is a joke. We'll let that go in and out, just like me and you and your mother.
But you'll always hear from these people, these Christians, they'll be like, oh, we have to support Israel. And, you know, Satan hates Israel. But, I mean, if that's true, why would he hate Israel? They all reject Jesus. They're all going to hell anyway. Why would Satan care about what they're doing, right? They really should be no threat to him whatsoever.
See, now I'm looking. I can't tell if that's the joke. Oh, okay, there was a joke. Anything can be a dildo if you're brave enough. In the same sentence as, the world is my oyster. Leaves me wondering what a brave new world could be. Oh my. That's right. Listen, it seems that our mouths... let me rephrase that. It seems that all of our orifices are going to be having a good time.
Well, I mean, you remember the guy from Schindler's List, the commandant of Auschwitz. What was his name? Amon Girth, I think was his name. And he would stand up in his thing and just shoot random people with his rifle just for fun, target practice. You know, if he saw somebody not working, or if he just felt like shooting somebody, he would shoot them.
And if you dehumanize people,
it's like animals. Yeah. But just imagine that somebody just sitting there and this asshole up in the tower shoots you, and instead of just dying, you actually go to a much worse place, a place of much more horror than even Auschwitz was, because your ancestors didn't get the memo about Jesus being the Messiah. So sorry, you have to go to hell.
And guess what?
I guess Auschwitz probably seemed nice compared to hell.
After the war ended and we hunted down SS people and we found them on their deathbeds or right before we, judged them, they kind of converted to Christianity and now they're in heaven. Isn't that great?
Yeah, because they were still alive, so they had a chance to ask for forgiveness. The people who they killed didn't get that chance, so hey, they have to go to. That's about Yahweh. It's just he gives no. He doesn't care. He does not care. Yahweh or the highway. Yeah. Young kids from tribes who have never had a chance to hear about Christianity, doesn't matter. They go to hell. Yahweh gives no. He doesn't care.
There's an official period of mourning for Queen Elizabeth, and then the subject is going to come up for. Although he.
Oh, is there like he doesn't? Even his talk about mourning is not mourning. I can't help it. It's just so unfair.
Yeah. Now that she's dead, who's the Antichrist going to be? Yeah.
He's King Charles right now. They're going to come up with the subject of the coronation. I can assure you that this coronation is going to be quite an event.
Gotcha.
They will invite world leaders from every nation, to come to it. It will be broadcast live all over the world. This will be far more than even Diana's funeral or any other event that we've seen on a world.
James, I think if we get broadcast all over the world, that might mean that we have control of it.
I mean, maybe we can get a ticket to the coronation.
I know.
I mean, since we're working for Satan.
Yeah, Soros says that we can get in a waiting list, but that but then he might be able to get us in.
Oh, okay. Well, hey.
World scale live broadcast. The entire world will be watching him at his coronation to become a king
Kinky.
and to receive the crown.
Gotcha.
I think it's going to get real interesting in the future watching it. So, to my brethren, let's step back and say, okay, where are we at?
Yes. I like how at this moment, like at 20 minutes into his video of just like ranting and rambling, he's like, oh, all right, let's just take a step back. I don't want to say something crazy.
I'm not saying he's working for Satan, but he's working for Satan.
This is not the start of the Great Trib. The Great Trib hasn't started. There's nothing to be alarmed about, but it is a significant enough event. I would hope all of you would start paying attention to what the Lord's doing in these days. This is a clear evidence. If you believe the Antichrist is in the world today and he's coming to power, then you know for certain you're sitting in the last generation.
Another claim they like to it. Isn't it so
funny,
James? Always. Every generation. Last generation. We're just about to be on the edge of the apocalypse. And yet
it's coming any day now. You mean
any day now.
That rapture is going to happen.
Yeah.
There's a whole bunch of prophecies that get fulfilled alongside of that brings us to the end of the age and brings us to the coming of the Messiah and him establishing his kingdom. That's the part of the exciting for me. So we continue to watch. I would encourage you, do not be concerned.
I'm not.
Is it significant that's taking place? Yes, very significant. And let's continue to watch the other prophecies. Let's continue to watch to see if there's a regional war. Let's watch to see if the altar gets set up.
It was more like a sad event for a guy, like a very public sad event for a guy. We should be
a family in mourning.
We should be
empathetic. A nation in mourning.
Yes, like it's not our country. So number one, go yourself. Number two, the fact that you can't even put that country aside and that you are taking, once again, a mom dying.
Who's just like any of our moms or grandmas, you know.
And I'm also biased, once again. A lot of people I know give a lot of, like I said, as far as I could tell, she was in more pop art posters and more tabs of LSD than I knew her from anything else. And yet she didn't seem like a mean lady. That's really how I know her. It's just like an old lady just going like this. That's most of my impression. Now,
I mean, you have to realize, you know, this is something that they're born into. It's not something they asked for. They didn't sign up to be monarchs.
Sure.
It's something that they're born into. It's a tradition that goes back thousands of years, and it's something that the people of the nation support.
And can I tell you, and I think, and you can go back, I think there's a little bit of split decision even in those. I think the morale for the support for the crown will go up right now, because during a tragedy, it's just like why we stupidly liked Bush after 9/11 and all this stuff. And then it'll even out. It'll go back to a 50-50 split. The people who, you know, like tradition, the people who don't like tradition. That's just the way things always are.
Even that's what they said. Like, well, finish.
Well, no, it's just, to me, it's just always the heart of this conversation is that it's just leaders, and they're always going to move on to someone new. And this guy is just taking advantage for how much they like to say and take pot shots. And the media does do this. Unfortunately, it's almost their job. This is what we asked for in the 24 news cycle, is they're going to do this type of shit. If you don't want to be TMZ of prophecy, don't do it. Be a decent theist. But yes, I'm sorry, James.
No, I mean, you have to realize this lady was on the throne for 70 years. Most of the people alive in the whole Commonwealth have never known another monarch other than her. And like even Wild Eden says he's from Scotland, and it hit her hard there. A lot of the people loved her there. I think.
Sure, and even if you just to say, even if you didn't believe in the monarch, I imagine if you were still part of the country, just like you're saying, and she's dead. I mean, I'd feel sad too. I feel like continue. I shouldn't have interrupted you.
No, I was like, I think in a lot of the other countries like Australia, Canada, I think going back maybe 20, 30 years ago, there was a little bit more of an anti-monarchist sentiment. I think Queen Elizabeth just won them over. And so like they had referendums and the vote was overwhelming.
Well, she just reminds me of a very, what is the Pope that we have now? Just all the people, the institutions that we get, to use the word that they hate, just keep on liberalizing. Each generation becomes more and more, because that's kind of how humans work.
She was a teenager working as a princess as she met Harry Truman. And how many presidents have come and gone while she's been the queen? Like
a lot.
8, 9 presidents, and it's just been her over there that entire time. It's
But it's not like she is also trying to dictate.
No, she's not.
Because she doesn't have that power anymore. She has basically powers that are in tradition. Once again, specifically, I could call it a pageantry of holidays. Like they are out to come out during Christmas. They are out to come out during,
but they're not
the
actively
celebrations,
exercising great control over the country. Yes. They delegate most of their powers to elected officials. So. 13 of them. She met 13 U.S. presidents. That's amazing.
And really, this has nothing to do with any of that. Like, any of that. This guy has been taking his name and making, like, 666 out of Hebrew and in a bunch of words that probably didn't even exist in Hebrew.
I just like, get
yes, and also no.
I think you think if Satan you think he could come up with somebody a little bit more menacing than a 70-year-old King Charles? I mean, I don't know. He doesn't appear to be the embodiment of all evil.
You could be Count Dooku. I think I was just reading. I keep on wearing my geeky cards. I mean, like, you can get a 70-year-old powerful Sith Lord, but is that where we're at? Where we're trying to say that they are Sith Lords? Because if not, then I feel like King Charles, if you had to put 2 buckets between me, and one says King Charles likes to one bucket is that King Charles is the Antichrist, and one bucket is that King Charles likes to play pogo on I feel like I'm with the horses and the poop. I feel like I know which I'm going to bet on and which one he would care more about. But that's just more.
But you see, that's the trick, Amy. You see, Satan has fooled you. Satan is the most subtle beast of the field. He is picking somebody who you would never see it coming. You will never see Charles flying to Jerusalem and forcing the world to worship Satan. That's why it's the perfect choice, because you'll never see it coming.
We'll never see it coming. We'll never see it coming. King Charles only had himself to blame.
Yeah, that's right, Mark. Yeah, that's it. You'll never see it coming. There you go. Life will just go on, and then one day we'll be worshiping Satan, like, just without even thinking about it.
/ King Charles.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things that have to happen before we can get to the abomination of desolation, before we can get to the start of the Great Trib.
But the headliner match.
We've been watching them for a long time, and they all are making progress toward that point.
You've been watching him? What do you like? Like a Prince Charles stalker? Like, you've been following him everywhere he goes, and
Shalom again. This is Monty Judah.
Shalom.
As we gave the
Okay, he's about to
hawk his ministry.
Hawk his ministry.
If you wanna go and buy his products, I'm sure Amy put the link in the description, so you can go there and you can buy as much of their shit as you want.
Exactly. So sending love out there.
Spend all your money on Ken Hovind's DVDs. If you saved a little bit for this
about
guy,
to get his
you can
DVDs.
go on and buy some of his shit. Yeah.
But we just watched the opposition viewpoint, in which we have been talking about, is King Charles the Antichrist? The thing I loved about titling this video is that they have to hide their message. Like, we can be as spicy as possible because we're debunking their nonsense. I love it. We can just be, we don't have to bullshit. We're talking about, is King Charles the Antichrist? That's all we don't have to fluff it up, where his was like such a, and this is what I mean, his title is called Messianic World Update. Don't you love that? This is what I mean about political correctness. That is a politically correct title, because it'll go by the filter. I saw people in the comments like, thanks for the update about the world and stuff.
So how I found this was it was like a preview video that was titled about Prince Charles, and then it said like coming up in the next day or so, and then this was the next video that came out. So I figured, okay, it's got to be that one.
Well, sure. And just when you sent me this video, when I watched it, it sent you that other video with the.
Oh, it did. Because I guess the algorithm
Satan
knows.
And conspiracy thing. I know it's starting to send us good stuff. It's starting to be like, oh, you like cray people? Well, guess what we have for you.
Yeah, I think the algorithm probably knows. Hey, he likes crazy religious conspiracies and current events, because I try to follow the news. So hey, this would be a perfect video. You get the news, you get crazy religious conspiracy theories. Boom.
It's peanut butter and jelly. But yeah, with that, I think James and I will keep on, talking ourselves and rapping on why this guy is such a snake oil salesman. But we are actually going to send the link into stream, because we're going to go into some open mic in a second. If you would like to come and join us, the link is in Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube right now and on screen. Tell us about the wisdom, and we want to know. Maybe we got it wrong. Is King Charles the Antichrist? Dun, dun, dun.
Hey, what caught this guy looks just like one of my Sunday school teachers when I was younger. So it really,
really hits him home. Well, not only does it
30 years ago, and he was old. He was at this age back then.
Because once again, I could talk about myself forever, but this kind of hits a little bit home, if I may so, to you. Am I not getting out? Because this is, you had kind of a hybrid
theology. Yeah, I did, and so it really piqued my interest to see what they had to say. I was a little bit surprised to see it was looks like a Messianic or Torah observant ministry. They use a lot of Jewish symbolism and phrases, and they integrate that
always
a lot into Christianity.
When there's a certain group that thinks we're the real. There's like this, and then we're the real. We're the OGs. I know
all the other
everyone
Christians
thinks
got
they're
it wrong.
the OGs, but we're the real. Yeah, everyone else has it wrong.
The Mormons think everyone else is wrong. They're right.
Or as I like to call them, Jesus in space. But yes, we're about to go into open mic, because we already got Mark Reid back with us behind stage. But if you, once again, would like to join us, I'm going to also pin it up, and we are especially looking for views that disagree with us.
Oh, especially.
We would prefer non-trolls. However, the fact that both James and I are quite literally, well, I guess metaphorically, clowns, we can't hate the player or the game. So feel free to come on and just talk with us.
We can't be too hard on them then.
Yes. Well, I find that the Christians try to really come on and try and talk with us, and then what happens is they sound, well, not just Christian, any of the super fundies come on, and then they just sound like they're pose. Do.
It's hard to tell the difference. Some of them are good actors.
With that, we have been Skeptic and Ranting on the opposing view and on his King Charles the Antichrist, and we are moving into the open mic with Mark Reid, starting us off. Woohoo! What is up, Mark? Lovely to have you on board. And I know this is probably a topic that you have just been talking about way too much. I know. I've been, come on, is King Charles the Antichrist or not?
Well, we all know he is, let's face it. No, look, I tell you what, this is maybe mad. I really want to talk about this, and I want to talk about it a lot. Because the Queen died, and we've had nothing like the first page of our okay, so it's complicated. Our ABC is not sort of a private company. It's funded by the government, but run by an independent board. So it's like the BBC in England. And it's just been 100%. Queen has died. What was the Queen's favourite food? How's her children handling it? What they were wearing at the funeral? Like, just, we're inundated. It's crazy. I wanted to so one of the things you said that sort of people don't understand is the Queen has no power in the Commonwealth countries, and I mean, I can only talk about Australia. Not technically true. According to the Constitution, the Queen is the leader of the armies and the head of state. In practice, that is rarely ever done. The Governor General is her representative, which is somebody chosen by the Prime Minister in Australia and appointed to that position. However, he needs to sign all legislation into law on behalf of the Queen, which is almost always done. Right, and you would like to say, hey, he's got no real power, but there was an incident, our largest constitutional crisis a while back, where the Governor General fired Malcolm Fraser, the Prime Minister at the time, and he was a democratically elected Prime Minister, and he got fired by the Governor General. So while you can sort of say that she has no power, the Governor General does in fact have the power to fire the Prime Minister. That led to Malcolm Fraser saying the famous thing, we may very well say God save the Queen because nothing will save the Governor General. And he was subsequently fired after that. But the point is that the Queen's representative did remove a democratically elected head of state and has the power to do so. So he has power. He definitely has power. That he chooses not to exercise it is another story, but he has the power. So it's incredibly complicated, incredibly convoluted. Our Constitution is like a children's book. It's the worst Constitution ever. Doesn't have freedom of speech, doesn't have freedom of assembly. It only really has freedom of religion and right to property, sort of. It's a terrible Constitution. It's absolutely shocking. But this is fascinating, this guy, because I've come across this before. I was involved in a debate against one, Howard Stirrup. I don't know if you remember him. He's the guy that was like, rocks are giants' organs that have petrified kind of thing. So go to a river, pick up a rock, look at it. It looks like a kidney. Ergo must be a kidney.
He was the dude who made that claim over, like, he was being debunked, and over he just said, go look at a stream, dude.
Yeah, well, I mean, I in my debate with him, I was like, have you done this, like, and opened it up, and do you find, like, because he said, oh, it looks like a heart, so it must be a heart. And I'm like, do you find aortas? Do you find 4 chambers kind of thing? And he's like, yes. And I'm like, bullshit. Yeah, no, he's a wackadoodle. But yeah, he was the first one I'd say, because he was playing this video about how Charles is the Antichrist, and that because it was, did dinosaurs exist? So his thing was, well, the Red Dragon of Wales, and that ties him into this whole thing about Prince Charles being the Antichrist that's going to end the world and stuff like that. Really wacky stuff, because Prince Charles isn't the Prince of Wales anymore. So the Red Dragon doesn't apply. I don't know who's now the Prince of Wales.
Charles
Mark, are you saying someone else is the Antichrist?
Maybe it's maybe Harry will inherit.
Yesterday he appointed William.
Oh, it was William, was it?
Yeah,
okay. Well, now William's the Antichrist because
it's Prince of Wales. You typically.
Yeah. So this is the question. Well, if it's the title that gives somebody the Antichrist thing, Prince Charles isn't that anymore because he's now the king. So what does that do for your logic kind of thing? But yeah, I've seen this before. It's really weird. But like this whole thing is just, why are you bothering telling anybody about it? Because you don't expect anybody to do something about it, right? You're not going to, we're not going to form a mob with torches and pitchforks and chase down King Charles.
Well, actually, can I just not only compliment that so much more? Can we all just bet like that this guy sleeps golden at night? Like he does not go to bed like thinking like, oh God, Charles is gonna come down and make me bow at his feet.
The thing was, this is all according to God's plan, right? So he's happy that it's happening because he gets to be raptured, or the end times will come and he's going to be on the right side of it, and the armies of God doing whatever the hell they're supposed to be doing when this happens. So he's not really worried about it. And what are you supposed to do about it? He's basically saying, get ready, it's coming, but don't do anything about it because we don't want that to change. We want that to happen. We want this. This is our thing. This is what we've been waiting for all this time. Yay, the end of the world. Yeah, it just seems particularly fatalistic that there is people out there who are desperately looking forward to the end of the world. Like they are all about it. They're so happy that the world's going to end.
They can't wait.
It's disturbing to me. Like, how can you sit there and go, tons of people are gonna get slaughtered and everyone's gonna, people are gonna be burnt for eternity, but not me. I'm gonna be great. That is so weird. I don't know whether it's just me.
I'm not going to pay back all those credit card bills. Suck it, Visa.
Yeah. You got to look on the bright side, right?
Yeah.
Yay, no more mortgage. Woohoo! Yeah, but that's sort of, yeah. What a weird conspiracy theory. And the thing is, Charles he's a bit of a wet blanket, to be honest with you. Like he's a bit of a tool.
Well, like I was saying, he would be. I hate to say that the Antichrist should not be lame, but we will put that card on the table. I'm not saying, because old guys can be cool and hip. I'm sure, Cheech and Chong are getting older now, right? So they can be cool. But
I don't know. I don't remember anything about the Bible saying, and the Antichrist will roam the earth, but he's a bit of a lame ass, like.
Yeah, I'm saying.
I mean,
the Antichrist
in a couple of years. I mean, hobbling around with a cane, or
the Antichrist would like to deliver this message to you. It's getting a little bit cold in here. Could you turn up the heat more?
Thermostat.
Yeah, can you turn up the thermostat?
It's 4 p.m. It's about time for bed.
Yep.
But yeah, thank you so much, Mark. And we're just going into a conversation. So
the Antichrist went to destroy the world, but fell asleep on his lazy boy.
Right. I mean,
God, someone just put the Antichrist to bed, please.
So
what's the over
Prince
and under
Charles,
on that?
I was just
Sorry,
going,
go ahead,
could
man.
he wake up? Could he wake up tomorrow and decide to take a ride down to Parliament, dissolve the Parliament, rule the whole
No.
Commonwealth by his own? He
No.
could do that. Would they allow him? Would it even be
No.
within the realm of
look,
possibility? It's not going to happen. It's not going to
No,
happen.
of course not. It's definitely not going to happen. There is not enough support for the royalty
Absolute monarchy, yeah.
Well, not even absolute monarchy, for even them to take any power back from the House of Lords and the House of Commons. There's just not enough support there. I think that, so Australia and England's relationship with the monarchy is very complex, and for reasons of tradition, they're still sort of placated and shown this sort of deferential, very, very, traditionally deferential view. But in practice, they have almost no power whatsoever. Like I said, the Governor General did fire the Prime Minister, but he was axed straight afterwards, straight to elections. It just is not something that they can do. And if they do it, the repercussions will be incredibly severe.
I think last time they had a referendum there and to retain the monarchy, but they said that was more sentiment for Elizabeth herself than the monarchy
Correct.
as an institution.
Yes.
That if there were, once she passes and there's somebody else, that they could redo the referendum and the result might be different.
Look, in Australia, you do find staunch monarchists, like very, very, we have to have the Queen. There's two main reasons why Australia probably wouldn't get rid of the monarchy. Number one is the Commonwealth Games, because we go to the Commonwealth Games and they're like the Olympics, basically, but just for the Commonwealth countries like Canada, Australia, New Zealand, England, that kind of stuff. And we kick everybody's ass on a semi-regular basis. So Australia is very happy that they go and
brings everybody together.
Basically, yeah. And the other one is we get a public holiday for the Queen's birthday. But quite frankly, they could replace that with another public holiday and no one would care. But that's probably the other reason. Most people just do not give a shit about the monarchy at all. They find them irritating.
It doesn't affect people's everyday life.
Not at all. And you do get staunch Republicans as well who really want a republic. And me personally, I mean, I'm fine being part of the Commonwealth. Doesn't really affect my life. It sort of, but we do need a rewrite of the Constitution. Our Constitution sucks. It's terrible. I think it needs to be updated, where the Queen isn't, the sole measure of power, but it doesn't really affect us.
Is she on? Is the Queen on Australian money?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. She's on all the Commonwealth. Yeah. Well, now it's going to be Prince Charles, and I don't know how people will feel about that. It's going to be
a big change.
Yeah, but Prince Charles is very unpopular, incredibly unpopular.
In Australia?
In fact, yeah, in Australia. I mean, Diana was incredibly popular before she died, and Prince Charles was he was. Diana did a lot for his sort of popularity kind of thing. She
knew how to play the media, and she really built up that persona.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. But I don't know. It's complex, but this whole idea of Charles being the Antichrist is one of the most ridiculous things I've ever seen. I mean, I would pay more if Prince Andrew was the Antichrist. I would pay that more, because that guy is sus as hell. He was the one that was going with Epstein, and
he gave that terrible interview. I don't know why he thought why he thought that was a good idea. I
no idea. And tried to claim that he had a medical condition which meant that he doesn't sweat or something, because the woman said that the guy came up to him, this prince came up to him, and he was sweating kind of thing. And so he gave this terrible excuse that, because of a medical condition, I can't sweat, therefore it didn't happen. It's like, come on, mate. as he's visibly sweating during the interview, you know.
Sweating bullets.
Yeah, right. And like, oh no, of course you don't sweat. But that clip was actually funny. I don't know where they find these people, but I thought he was Jewish because of the yarmulke and
I think he falls into the Messianic category. Messianic.
Oh.
These are like Christians who apply the Old Testament in some ways
right
to Christianity. They use a lot of Jewish terms, symbolism.
Yeah.
They integrate a lot of it into Christianity.
Well, I mean, I would love to talk to somebody like this and sort of go and sort of ask, do you have any will to stop climate change or improve air quality or save rainforests or, you know, save animal extinction, right? If you're just basically going, well, this world's going to be destroyed, what would be your motivation for doing that? Why would you try and save anything? You know, I don't understand.
A lot of times they won't. They don't. That's why a lot of them don't want to take any action against those things because according to them, God's in control. You know, we don't have to worry about climate change. God is going to come and do his thing.
Yeah, it's kind of a safety net I just can't get on board with, you know, like you're basically risking everything on this idea of you know, God's going to catch us, even though we've never seen him catch anybody ever before. You know, when has anybody? Yeah, I mean, I guess so, but
that is jumping off like the top of a 40-story building because you know God will come in and save you before you hit the ground.
Jesus, take the wheel.
Yeah. God saved me, and then you splat right into the concrete. Oops.
But I thought the other thing was that the Bible said that no one shall know the time of the end of the world. I mean, I must admit, I haven't.
It says no one will know the day and the hour, so they're not. They'll say you won't know exactly the day, but you can get an idea about it. Yeah.
No, that's fair. The Santa must be right then because he wouldn't lie to me. Ho, ho, ho.
Oh, we got James Wolfe backstage.
Jewish Santa.
James.
Well,
you've got all the Australians invading today. This is great.
Did you someone
leave your Vegemite
told
at the door.
Someone was claiming, a group or something, and who knows if these are Poe groups, but they were claiming that no one is from Australia. They were claiming that everyone from Australia are hired NASA actors that are trying. This is
they caught me. You caught me at last.
Don't want to prove that the world is flat,
and that started off as a conspiracy theory. I think in the late 1700s, early 1800s in England, when they were using Australia as a penal colony, and there were people who came out and said, "There's no such place as Australia. The ships are just sailing out to the middle of the Atlantic and throwing all the convicts overboard and then sailing back."
Makes sense.
No one's going to Australia.
Well, I'm glad they did, but you know,
speaking of
this Australia is a myth has been going on forever, kind of thing.
Well, look, now I hear
we don't want to dispel it.
No,
we don't want to dispel it. We're you know, we have more beach space if people don't know. We think we're a myth.
Well, it's like that whole Greenland, Iceland thing. Just be like, no, it's terrible here. The weather is never nice.
We keep telling people there's snakes and spiders and all kinds of drop bears and things like that, but it doesn't seem to dissuade anybody, unfortunately.
I think the most, like the one I'm seeing the most of now is people saying that the Roman Empire was a myth. It never happened. It was all made up. And
really?
That one,
wow.
There's just so much physical evidence that they did exist that's just such a bizarre claim to make. But
and I mean, which Roman Empire? Because, you know, there was the Roman Empire, the early one, and then later on when it turned from sort of a republic into, you know, the Caesars, and then it split up into the Eastern Roman Empire and Western Roman Empire. So, you know,
Yeah.
There's been a few of them going. And then there's the Holy Roman Empire, which was the sort of amalgamation of Germany. And yeah, absolutely. So,
well, a lot of what they're doing is they're going to say, okay, like the Greek Empire, that was real. What the historians did is they basically just copied and pasted the history of Greece, the Greek Empire, and then just changed like the dates, names, and locations, and told the same story, just slightly modified, just
did
to
the
make
Greeks
it look
have
like
an empire?
the Grecian Empire. I believe they did. Alexander the Great.
Alexander the Great was Macedonian, I believe.
I think they
I
considered
could be wrong.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that might be what they're talking about, but I thought that was Macedonian.
I've always heard it as the Greek.
Right.
Well, I'm going to interrupt you both because we are going to get James Wolfe and then Wild Eden in. But both of you, please take as much as you want for your opening statement or your intro. In fact, there we go. What is up, James Wolfe? We are skeptic and ranting about is King Charles the Antichrist? You know, the average topic you talk about. Hope you're doing well. And what are your thoughts?
Oh, gosh. Well, I just got a bit mentally diverted there because you guys started talking about was there or was there not a Greek Empire? I typically, the Hellenic Empire, the Hellenistic world under Alexander, that's commonly referred to as the Greek Empire. After Alexander's death, it broke into different fragments, but it is kind of sometimes called the Greek Empire. They kind of the Greeks kind of claimed the Macedonians and the Alexander for themselves. So, sorry, what are we talking about? It's the Truman Show down here, isn't it, Mark? We got I don't know. Yeah, it's not good for tourism. I'll tell you that much. Anyway, Prince Charles is the Antichrist. Well, I mean, this is real David Icke stuff, isn't it? You know, with the
it's flirting with that.
What's that?
I said it's flirting with that level.
Yeah, well, in the sense that it evokes those associations with me because of the idea of monarchy and patrician blood and aristocratic and blood sort of being of a kind of demonic beginning. I mean, we speculate about maybe someone can correct me about this, but and I'm not a biblical scholar, but there's not a whole lot about the Antichrist in the Bible. Nothing specific.
And it's not really a whole lot.
No, and
it's really very vague.
And it's built. Those conventions have been built into it. By the church, and so various different conventions have been accepted about what the Antichrist should look like. Or very recently, to give a recent anecdote, wasn't it Jerry Falwell who said that the Antichrist is living now and is an American male Jew or something like that?
It's
I don't know.
Probably right. Yeah. Like something you would have said.
Yeah.
Wow.
I don't know.
He's really going to call Seinfeld. I'm just.
I think Jon Stewart, but anyway.
Yeah.
Probably referring to him.
Yeah, I don't know. So it evokes all this stuff about royal bloodlines, and I'm not surprised that Marky broke that it sort of crosses swords or it aligns heavily with that. The ideas that are being brought up by. Sorry, what was the guy you debated recently? About the
Howard Stirrup. Yeah, and I remembered something when
you
you finished your intro. I remembered something about what he said. Go on, James.
Okay, well, I won't be too much longer. I just want to touch briefly, just because it was something that you guys discussed about the republicanism and England and the monarchy. And one thing, I don't know if this is I don't know how much this is commonly aware, but how much. And I've mentioned this in the chat about how a lot of Republican ideology or philosophy emerged from England, in the sense of, England was fortunate enough to have its revolution very early in the Cromwellian revolution. And from that point on, really, it wasn't whilst they did have they did have the monarchy come back as a powerful institution, it was never quite the same after that. And then after the Glorious Revolution that deposed James II, it became then from then on it was like the Parliament. Yeah, absolutely. And the Parliament was by far the superior body after that. So it's sort of England's political advancement or sophistication has been is a lot more predates a lot more other European states and Western states, and also I think that the American Revolution took a lot from the philosophy that was coming out of England at the time, the likes of, whilst Thomas Hobbes, who was he was one of, a staunch monarchist philosopher during the time of the English Civil War. You've got the likes of Edmund Burke, even though he's technically an Irishman, but Edmund Burke and more importantly, John Locke, who really informed the philosophy of the US and the independence movement there. But apart from that, I don't know. In terms of republicanism in Australia, we got no appetite for it, do we, Marco? I just think we're apathetic about it, really.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah, well, kind of. I mean, there was a Republican movement and there was a referendum about 20 years ago, and and I think it was. I mean, the monarchists kind of did a bit of a scare campaign. Anyway, they've done a bit of a scare campaign, but it wasn't. Yeah, I just don't think it's a very popular idea, and I think that it's sort of. I don't know if it's what I've read about Canada, which is a little bit has had independence in the same way as Australia for a bit longer. I think since 1867 they've been independent. They retain the monarchy, from what I understand, partly because they sort of see it as part of their political identity that distinguishes them from the US, from Big Brother. So I don't know. I don't know if I just see ourselves as a bit distinct, and we like the idea of monarchy. We like the pageantry and that kind of stuff. I don't know if that's got something to do with it, but yeah. I guess I'll leave it there. I've rambled on enough. Thanks, guys.
No, thanks, Jane. Appreciate it.
I also point out that almost none of these authoritative or these anti-authority, conspiracy theorists, I feel have ever actually read 1984. That just pisses me off on a subtle level, because there's even someone I'm speaking of who was in a debate recently. Penelope. But no, there was a very bubbly person that was in a debate. And when I brought this up, he was like, yeah, I fell asleep halfway through reading that book in class. I was like, God damn it. But sure, anti-authoritative master. But yeah, what's
the thing?
Yes.
Do you want to get somebody else in here? Yeah, get Wild Eden.
Yes.
I'll share what I remember.
Exactly. Just hold that and we'll... Wild Eden, what is up? We are Skeptic and Ranting on Is King Charles the Antichrist? I hope you are doing well, and we want to know.
Hello, guys. Thanks for having me on the panel.
Hello.
Well, I'm not a philosopher, politician. I've got a keen interest in history. I'm just a common person in Scotland. And I just wanted to be here on behalf of the royal family. I am mourning the passing of our Queen of Scots. She did mean an awful lot to the Scottish people. She was the one constant. She represented stability in times of crisis. She did an enormous amount of charity work. She saw her life as service to the people, and she performed her duties right up till 2 days before she passed. And that was just so moving, and it's affected the majority of Scottish people deeply. And I know there's the minority who disagree, but thankfully they are just in the minority. And as far as King Charles goes, I have faith that he will be a good monarch. He's in a new role now, and I think he will do well. I don't buy into all these conspiracy end of times nonsense. And that's all I wanted to say. I know the situation in Australia is different, and you're welcome to have a republic. If you want. The Queen decolonized. She wasn't a colonizer. She let colonies go. She tried to form the Commonwealth of the people. She brought people together.
Well, I mean, it wasn't
And
during.
hold on
Queen
one
Elizabeth
second. I just want to
Um,
say welcome, Wild Eden. We appreciate having you on board.
Yeah, nice of you to come on.
And then it does sound like, but now I'll give it back over because now Mark sounds like you got a question.
Yeah, I think that the Queen was definitely a formidable woman, and you know that she did work before she died, and I do apologize if we're sort of making light of something you care about, Wild Eden, because she was a person at the end of the day.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
And yeah, I also want to sort of say she actually had a pretty amazing life because she took the throne so early, and she was actually I believe, a truck mechanic in the army during World War II.
Yeah.
Yeah, so she always had a love of vehicles and things like that, even up into her sort of later life. The thing that I've remembered, and that was from the debate, was the other thing the conspiracy theory people go on about is that Prince Charles is related to Dracula. I wish I was joking.
Gosh.
I wish I was joking.
It would make things so much more exciting if he was.
So, and this is, sorry, Wild Eden,
I did it so well at goth clubs. I can picture it now.
I did a debate against this guy who he had every conspiracy under the sun, and one of his was Prince Charles is related to Dracula, and he has a dragon as the Wales logo, so therefore must be sort of an evil person. But apparently he is related. Prince Charles is his, or King Charles now, sorry, is his great grandson 16 times removed through Queen Mary. And I thought Queen Mary was the Queen of Scots, right?
Yeah, that's why
there was Mary, Queen of Scots,
Elizabeth.
and there was Queen Mary the First.
Oh, okay. So she's the descendant of Mary, Queen of Scots. Okay.
Yeah, that's why Queen Elizabeth's known as the Queen of Scots as well, especially in Scotland.
Yeah, but I mean, 16 times removed, and plus it wasn't. Yeah, it's kind of this.
Well,
it's very
their
strange.
lineage goes all the way back
like
to
cousin,
Alfred the Great. I mean, the royal lineage goes all the way back to Alfred the Great. So,
which
with many branches and.
Sorry,
how many? Which number of cousins? How many?
Great grandson 16 times removed.
Oh boy.
Can I just jump in for 2 seconds?
Yeah.
Just wanted to say, welcome, Wild Eden. Thanks for joining us.
Hi there.
And I just, despite my glib comments in chat regarding Charles, I just wanted to say, in Australia, that sentiment certainly isn't, apart from, as Mark was saying, towards Elizabeth, that sentiment certainly isn't the same at all. I mean, she was like my family's largely from Hertfordshire in England. My stepmom's Scottish. I love Scotland. The respect for Elizabeth here is just it's substantial. It's significant. So I didn't want to come across that I was being disrespectful to them, because I know how much she did mean to the English and Scottish and even the Australians, etc. So,
well, Eden.
Thank you.
Sorry, do you see any possibility that the monarchy would try and gather power for themselves, like sort of political power? Yeah,
no, not at all. No, that's never crossed my mind. No.
Yeah, I would probably
like the idea of staying out of politics, being apolitical.
I see them as transcending politics, because we never knew what Queen Elizabeth's political views were at all.
Right. She was very neutral.
We never knew she was very reserved. She transcended politics, and that's that is the role of the royals. They're like the linchpin of the Constitution. But it's that stability. I mean, Queen Elizabeth, her first prime minister was Winston Churchill, so that's a huge span. She's had 15 prime ministers. So for the people, politicians, prime ministers come and go, but she was always there, and she always appeared genuine and sympathetic to the people. And there's been a massive outpouring of national grief. You just have to see those live feeds of the funeral procession in Edinburgh up the Royal Mile and the thousands of people, all out there to pay their respects. I was there. The funeral cortege passed through my city of Dundee.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a massive turnout. Sorry?
I was just saying you're from Dundee. I was going to throw a little
Dundee,
bit of spice
Scotland,
into it. Yeah. No, I know Dundee, Scotland.
Crocodile Dundee.
Just to throw a tiny bit of spice in, Amy. Is this sort of sentiment echoed to within like the Catholic population in Scotland as well?
Sorry,
the Catholic population.
I don't know many Catholics personally, but I would say the population as a whole, the majority of Scots dearly loved the Queen. I think she meant a lot to the people of Scotland. I think she chose to spend her last days in Scotland at Balmoral Castle.
Didn't they have an independence referendum a few years ago and it was rejected?
Yeah, the independence referendum, that's more of a political thing rather,
If they did leave Great Britain, they still would have been part of the Commonwealth as far as I understood it.
Yes. They would still have loyalty to the royal family. I'm quite optimistic about King Charles.
Well,
he's been schooled all his life, and I'm sure the Queen's put him right. He said some crazy stuff, but his rules changed now. Well, when the Queen took the throne, she was only 25, so she hadn't actually lived a life. King Charles is now 73, so obviously he's lived a life and he's had his own views on a variety of topics. But he knows his role's changed.
Well, just
he
a couple
will change with the role.
Just a couple of contentious things. Number one, I'll say, and this is a statement, I'll say better Charles than Andrew. Just putting that out there. And number two is a question for the panel. Do you think that, because at the moment the Royals bring in a heck of a lot of tourism, like a ton of tourism, do you think the tourism will be affected by Charles being on the throne rather than Elizabeth?
It's funny, Mark, you should say that, because I'm in the UK in February, and I was saying to my wife, I hope that the coronation's not in February. Anyway, well, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, maybe marginally. What do you reckon, Eden?
Sorry, could you repeat? I don't think tourism will decline. I wasn't quite sure about the question.
Because Charles is not as popular as Queen Elizabeth was. He just did not have the same level of popularity with people.
I think it's more the royal family as a whole that are popular.
Okay.
I can't see him having a detrimental effect on tourism. His son William is very popular.
That's true.
He's very close to Charles.
This is another spicy comment, but I think that they're primarily there. They're primarily there basically for tourism, the royal family.
It definitely plays a role.
I think that's true.
Yeah, to some extent.
Yeah, well, I'm sorry, Aiden. The royal family doesn't affect me in the slightest.
Like from a sort of political or philosophical perspective, I'd be a Republican. But from a practical standpoint, they'd be silly to disband the monarchy because it generates so much money for them.
Right.
I think the nation would be a bleak, unbroken nation if there was no monarchy.
A bleak, unbroken nation.
Yeah.
Bit of a stretch, Eden.
I'm talking about the United Kingdom. Yeah, definitely.
I think you'll get by on the charming pubs and nice woodland areas. I think you'll get by. I don't think it'll be the bleak Armageddon that you think it would be.
I mean, change is hard.
Given the state of our
unless it
politics
is Armageddon, then it will be the Armageddon. But
Yeah, given the state of our politics at the moment, if there was no monarchy, I would go abroad. I would leave Britain. It would it would take the great out of Great Britain. And I'm not the only person. I'm not the only person that feels that way in this country.
So what do they actually do for politics that in some way mitigates the effect of politics in England on you? Like, what do they actually do in practice?
In practice, I think it's the constancy, it's the stability, it's the fact
so
that
it's like
they
a safety
transcend
net?
politics. Yeah, they transcend politics.
Okay.
Yeah, well,
as I said when I came on, I'm not a politician.
No, that's fine. That's fine.
Yeah, well, James made a really interesting point earlier, and I hadn't really thought about it. I hadn't appreciated it until probably now. That something like a monarchical institution, it creates a sort of identity that isn't necessarily linked to politics. Having your head of state as a politician who's got a particular political perspective or ideology, it can really, you don't want to, that's not synonymous necessarily with the nation's identity. You're not fighting, you're not representing when you go to war, or when you're representing a country at the Olympics or whatever. You're not representing a regime. You're representing the nation, and maybe a monarchy embodies that better.
Yeah.
Well, I think a national identity can embody that just fine. I mean, Australia has a national identity which isn't really tied up in the royal family.
I can see that. Yeah, that'll be the difference.
Also,
guys, I like it.
Well, I will say about 5-10 minutes of spicy for the panel, and then we are going to go to outros. Because I am going to try and dedicate ourselves. I have it timed. If you go out about 3:20 or so, we can get out at that magical 3 hour something mark.
Well, I think we should all band together as Commonwealth members and pick on America, because they seem to have a head of state that's like the president, and they respect this president in a way that Australians would never respect the prime minister, like ever. It's very strange.
I just want to get picked on. That's what I'm hoping.
Really?
Okay, well.
Yeah.
No.
Sorry, I think like you see videos. I mean, you see videos from like the Parliament in Great Britain where the Prime Minister just like shouting back and forth at the other side of the aisle. It's like
that's very entertaining.
I mean, you would never have that in America, where the president would go to the Congress and start shouting at people. It's almost unthinkable.
Sorry, sorry, Mark. Go ahead.
I'm just was going to say, at least it isn't like Korea where they have fisticuffs in the middle of the fist fights.
Yeah.
But I'm curious, Eden, if I could pick your brain for a moment. I mean,
I don't know if I've got much of a brain to pick, but have a go.
but I know, it's interesting to me that you say that sentiment is so strong in Scotland, considering some history. I know it's going back a long time, but is like. The sense of the Jacobite rebellions and fighting against the House of Hanover, isn't that within the the national spirit? Is to be a little bit anti-monarchical in that sense? That's just not your experience.
No, that hasn't been my experience. Time's moved on.
How do you feel about William Wallace, is what we're asking.
I'm not sure, actually. I don't really have an opinion on William Wallace, to be fair.
Yeah. I was thinking about the Scottish battalions on the field of Waterloo, aren't you, Eden?
I mean, thinking about it's so amazing how like history, how like they make a movie about something, like how one-sided it was, like the movie Braveheart, just portraying King Edward as just this absolutely evil guy who just like oozes evil out of every pore of his body. But I think
you can't just have him as just an ordinary guy who just was, doing the best he thought for his country.
He thought what was right,
Hey, and guess what? 20 years later, that guy became a director, and then he blamed a whole bunch of things on a certain group of people. I'm trying to remember. Mel Gibson, and he liked Moose. He was talking about news, cruise. It's on the tip of my tongue. I just can't think of it. Well, we're gonna keep on moving forward. In fact,
went to direct Passion of the Christ, which was like a Christian torture.
Snuff.
I don't know if you've seen it, but it's really just focuses
disturbing.
on. Yeah, it actually is.
Woohoo! What is up, Reservoir Core? I feel bad because you just got here and we're about to probably head to outro soon.
Yeah.
But we'll welcome you on board. We have actually been talking about, is King Charles the Antichrist? You know, I thought there would be, no opposition. It seems like no matter what, we have an entire panel of people that just don't buy it. I don't think that
it's a hard sell.
King Charles is. I still think it was.
Question before we end. Can I ask one question?
Sure.
Yes, you can. But in going into that question, I just want to imagine it's like a 70-year-old gentleman in like he's getting ready for physical therapy, or he's like about to go running with his dog, and then on his like 74th birthday, Satan comes to him and he's like, Charles, it's time. You are now the Antichrist. And he's like, oh, okay, but I gotta still walk the dog.
I'm actually surprised.
I got shit. I mean, you gave me 70 years. You can't just start and now I gotta be the Antichrist.
I'm surprised they didn't claim that he murdered the queen or that the queen was murdered.
Oh.
I was waiting.
Oh, you started it now, James.
Yeah, that's right.
Because I mean, a 96-year-old person dying. I mean, that's just so suspicious. She had to have been killed, right? I mean, you could never imagine that would happen on its own.
Oh, you wait till they catch a hold of that one. That's next.
Well, I don't know. I don't know if like, because I mean, I don't think age is any objection to being the Antichrist, because like Rupert Murdoch's 90-something and he does plenty of damage by himself. So,
Well, and our boss Soros I thought he was gonna hold that title forever. I can't believe he's getting taken off the chopping block.
Do you ever wonder if these conspiracy theorists ever get into arguments with each other about who is the actual Antichrist? Like there's the Sorosites and the Charlesites and the
real.
I think they do.
I would love to be a fly on the wall when that argument goes down. I would love to be a fly on the wall when
Some
they
people
have
say, "Oh no, it's Vladimir Putin. Oh no, it's Bashar al-Assad in Syria. Oh no,
someone says Elon Musk.
It's Obama.
Remember they
said
I love X music.
It's Kim
for
Jong-un.
ages they said it was Obama. For ages, all throughout his presidency, they said it was.
This is what happens. They did. I noticed it, particularly like the end of the Bush administration, moving into Obama. They're always like, "Oh, they're going to stage something. There's going to be an event so that
it's going to be a false flag."
Right?
That's their favorite word.
They'll have to cancel the inauguration, and Bush will remain. They did the same thing with Obama. Like, "Oh, what's Obama going to stage so he can keep power?" They every time there's a transition of power, they do that.
Except for Donald Trump, where he actually did try to seize power. Anyway, my question is, Wild Eden, are you actually religious? I was just wondering. You don't have to
I'm an atheist, believe it or not.
I've seen her in chat a bunch. I think she's pretty much.
I'm sorry, I've kind of missed you, I guess.
I see her in chat occasionally.
I've retired recently, but so I quite often miss Amy's broadcast.
Sure.
But I have been in the chat in the past.
Yeah, I've seen you before.
It's a pleasure to meet you.
I have been around.
Well, it's nice of you to come on and get to talk to you.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure being here chatting with you guys.
Well, and actually on that note, let's go to the outros, and Eden, after the little transition, again, you'll be the first one starting us off. So on that note, we have been Skeptic and Ranting. Is King Charles the Antichrist? And we are going into everyone's outros. It has been a lot of fun, ladies and gents. And
Elon
would
Musk,
you prefer Wild or Eden?
Either.
Either? Okay. Well, we are going in. And while it's starting us out, then we are going into our outros. Woohoo! Thank you so very much, Wild,
Thanks,
for
Wild.
being with us. We have been Skeptic and Ranting on Is It King Charles the Antichrist? Hope you had fun. What you got going on, and what are your final thoughts?
Thank you, Amy. I just want to say long live King Charles III, and he is not the Antichrist. That is nonsense. I have a video on my channel, Wild Eden, that shows the funeral cortege of Queen Elizabeth passing through my home city of Dundee, if you'd like to check that out at any time.
Yeah.
So that's all I wanted to say. Yes, it has been fun being on the panel. Thank you very much, everyone.
And I just want to
Over and out.
express my condolences for the loss of the Queen. I know it meant a lot to you and a lot of people in your country and a lot of people around the world. So,
and if you could just
Thank
confirm
you.
for
Thank
me
you
in
for-
private chat for that, and then I'll send it out. And then I also just want to say, because I've taken this from just a very simplistic point, that it's like relative royalty, politics, all of that stuff aside, that someone's mom passed, someone's
mom.
grandma,
yeah,
and all of this, and that is the most important thing that I could focus on, is because it angers me that schmucks like this guy would abuse a tragedy. Yeah.
The memory
Thank
of
you very much, Amy. Thank you.
Absolutely. But thank you so very much, Wild, for being with us. And I'm also going to send that channel into chat. And all
thanks,
right.
Ian. Yeah, come back anytime, Wildheart.
Thank you.
And the channel is now on screen. It looks like has title but needs monetization. So more subs need to keep on getting, because we need more atheists, non-believers, skeptics with a whole bunch of awesome content out there. So thank you so very much, Wild. Woohoo! It was lovely. Like James said,
Woo-hoo!
not only I have seen you out in chat, and lovely to have you on board with us tonight.
Lovely
Or
to
today.
be here.
Woohoo! James Wolfe. We have been
Wolfe.
Skeptic and Ranting. We have been asking ourselves, is King Charles the Antichrist? Almost like we were in a B horror film. And so I hope you had a fantastic night. And what you got going on, and what are your final thoughts?
Oh, well, is he the Antichrist? Well, he's the closest I can, I guess, playing devil's advocate. His dad was worshipped as a deity in a cargo cult in the Pacific. I don't know if you guys are aware of that. Yeah, his Prince Philip was actually, worshipped as a there's a little cult of him down in an island in the South Pacific. So I don't know. What's that?
I did not know that.
Yeah, so a little bit bizarre. So, I mean, yeah, I guess we can trace that back to the psychology of divine right of kings and whatever. But no, I don't think so. For a couple of reasons. You know, there's no such thing as the Antichrist, I believe. And also, if we're just going to say the Antichrist is an extremely evil person, no, I mean, you know, he's not going to be as well. I don't believe he's going to be as well loved as Elizabeth and everything. But no, I don't believe so. I'm going to share a very brief anecdote just for purely amusement. So my long deceased mother, but I don't mean any disrespect towards her, obviously, but she told me gave me a little bizarre anecdote a long time ago. She was into all sorts of woo and esoteric stuff. She told me that she believed that, interestingly, that King Charles might actually kill the Antichrist with his bare hands. That's something that she picked up on. I don't know if she formulated that herself or if she'd found that. So, I mean, I don't know. But it was commonly believed at the time that the Antichrist was Saddam Hussein. so that Prince Charles would kill Saddam Hussein with bare hands. But maybe we didn't get the maybe the Antichrist is someone else, and maybe we got it completely backwards. Maybe Prince Charles or King Charles now will go and kill the Antichrist with bare hands for all we know. So yeah, there we go. I know that's a bizarre way to end, but there it is.
Hey, thanks, James.
Woohoo! Thank you so very much, James. Not at all. I will have to say anything out of the panel's mouth. There's nothing you could say that would be irrational when compared to what we just witnessed tonight. Let me tell you. But thank you so very much, James Wolfe.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for the chat.
Reminding us all that creationists are allergic to that thing that Pat and James do. It's called research. I think it's a French word. Research? I think so. Anyway, yes, research. But thank you so very much, James Wolfe, and moving right along. Mark Reid, we have been. We have been told recently by someone probably on the dark web that is getting internet from 7-Eleven that Australians don't exist. So I can't believe that we've met. I mean, we've had two agents of NASA before us tonight.
I mean, he's obviously CGI. He's not real.
Exactly.
Computer program.
Nobody is this old. It's CGI. No, I wish I was wearing my NASA shirt. I really do. Because every skeptic has a NASA shirt.
Well, yeah, and I think they only sign the paychecks when you're wearing the shirt.
Absolutely,
so
absolutely.
But yes, Mark, I can't believe that I get to say this sentence out without hallucinating. But is King Charles the Antichrist?
Absolutely not. Look, I wonder how many times the Antichrist is going to be like sort of, call Wolfe on the Antichrist before we give up on this entire thing.
Yeah.
It must have been called on everybody's favorite opponent over the years, probably hundreds and hundreds of times. Who knows? For a start, you've got to believe in a Christ before you can believe in an Antichrist. So there's that. That's a problem for me. So I think it's possible I could believe in an Antichrist, but you'd have to convince me that Christ was something special or Jesus was something special first, which I don't think he was. There's almost, as James said, there's almost no information about this person in the Bible. It really is all speculation, and that's all it is. I don't think that Charles is a bad guy. He had his marital problems. He has said a few pretty weird things. But nothing has led me to believe that he's any kind of evil person come back to, be Dracula's incarnation on this earth or anything. These conspiracy theories are kind of worrying. They're kind of... without critical thinking, there's no limit to the rabbit hole that you can send your mind down. And look, when I was younger, I believed in some weird stuff. I thought astrology was real because I was raised in a household where my mother thought it was real. I thought that you could sense ghosts. I thought a lot of things that weren't true. And luckily, I was introduced to some critical thinkers that sort of changed my opinion on how I was thinking about the world and how I knew these things were real. There isn't anything that this guy was presenting that couldn't be interpreted for literally just about anybody on this planet. Like the inferences that he is making are so large and such leaps that, as Pat in chat rightfully put forward, well, I've got a flag of a red dragon, a Welsh flag in my house. You could make the argument, well, you're the Antichrist. And if you're using such leaps of logic that this guy is, yeah, you could, because his critical thinking is so bad. And most of these conspiracy theorists are. They base it on how they feel and make these tenuous links all fit together, then use confirmation bias to say, hey, I see this and this and this that confirms what I've thought in the first place. I don't know why they think like that. I really don't. I think maybe it's a distrust of an authority or wanting to know secret knowledge. But I think the royal family is just going to go on the same way it always has. I mean, they're not hard up for money, but they do help with tourism. So they are a good thing for England, at least. But yeah, I think Amy did say the most pertinent point that a mother and sister and probably not sister, sorry, a mother and grandmother and somebody dear to people has died, and that is sad. And I probably was kind of very glib and humorous about it, but you're right. It is always a tragedy when we lose a member of humanity, especially somebody as important to other people as the Queen was. So, so our condolences to everybody in England, Scotland, and the rest of the Isles. All the best for the future. And I hope that King Charles lives up to what his mother did. Thank you.
Thank you so very much, Mark. That
looks
lovely
like
having you not only on as on the panel tonight, but like I said, I feel like you, James, Wolfe, and Eden were both really gave insightful perspectives that sometimes I feel like it's hard to not hear that except for anyone from the media. And once again, I'm not anti-media because we already get that enough from the alternative conspiracy people. But it's nice to get people on the ground who actually believe these. And
yeah, I mean, to the American or the United States people, the monarchy can seem like something that's just weird. Like it just doesn't make any sense whatsoever.
Can I say to us, and this is just my gut feeling, to us, it's borderline like a movie. Like to us, it's just like they are.
Right.
She was the queen, and that's just like the thing it is. Like we're like, oh yeah, it's the queen because that's like the thing they do there. We go on tourism and stuff.
The England thing.
We almost find it charming, and I don't know how to say because we don't think we're very far away from the war we had. It's very I don't know, very commercialized almost to us. Like it's the kind of, to us, it's the kind of thing that we want to go and we want to be in our Hawaiian t-shirt and we want to be with our Polaroid around us when we go around, and it's part of the West and all that stuff in it, or insert whatever.
Well, I think you could sort of compare it to the Royal Guard with the big bearskin hats kind of thing. It does look a bit comical from outside, and it does look like just sort of a tourist opportunity from outside. But those are very real soldiers with very real guns. And if you try to break into the palace, they will shoot you. So in a sense, you can sort of see it as, yes, there's an element of tourism, there's an element of sort of
and
being
funny
and comical.
I see Dan also say, and yeah, I will say, I mean, that's the other side to it, is Americans also see it. I think it's become this sort of way because it's very neutered to us in that we have a very anti-monarch everything. Like that is just our shtick.
Understandably so, yes.
Like, we eat hamburgers and piss freedom. That's the whole shtick. I get it. Which I kind of like that myself. It's taking all. That's why I think we view it as type of almost a surreal thing to us, because we don't take part in it, and yet it's still part of world culture. You can't escape world culture. You can't escape just as long as you want to be with it, unless you're North Korea. But even then, they're like, "But China, you're my big buddy." Everyone else and other things.
If you want to see a thing on freedom, I think I can't remember, an Australian comedian did a bit on how America thinks it's the freest in the world, and it's not. It's actually in the Netherlands.
Sure. Oh no. Absolutely.
I can't remember the guy's name, but he's hilarious. Oh, and I'd also like to plug my channel. I'll just throw it in
Sure.
the chat
And in fact,
as well.
that'll be the last, and then we're gonna give Wildheart his intro outro. He's going to say what he wants, and then the two pilots, James and myself, are going to fly the plane home. But
sure. Thank you so much for having me on. I really enjoyed it. And it was fascinating to hear from James and Wild Eden and Wildheart coming up. And you and James are just amazing. I love you both.
Thanks, Mark.
Love you right back, Mark.
Rebel Nazarene forgot to take his lithium, so he probably wants to press that button to remind the nurse that it's time for
sending love to Rebel. Can I tell you, I am so happy, even though
end up in a padded room.
And so I'm gonna pin what we really want to do. So Mark's channel is now pinned in chat. You have no reason, because we have he has his fancy new title now. Now we need to get him monetized. And he's doing a lot more
thanks
content.
to Peter. Peter is amazing. I love Peter. He's awesome. Yeah.
He's great, isn't he? Always willing to help.
And all right. Thank you one more time, Mark. And
thanks, Mark.
We keep on coming on.
Thank you.
The last. We have dual headliners tonight, because Mark headlined our second headliner for his intro outro. We are Skeptic and Ranting on Is King Charles the Antichrist? I think it's a board game I just made. Welcome, Wildheart, and what are your thoughts?
My thoughts are I want to do karaoke.
Woo-hoo! That sounds pretty good. So I would love to do karaoke. I think there are actually two people in my house sleeping right now. But that sounds like so much fun. And one day I will. Actually, I'll tell you, in 2 or 3 hours, one of those people goes to work. And then maybe I could. So if you stay on long enough, who knows? But okay, Wildheart. It was if that's it, then lovely having you on. In fact, let me let me type. I'm gonna mute myself so you don't hear.
I was gonna do God Save the Queen. God Save the Queen. She ain't no human being. She really isn't. She's a German lizard. She was.
What? I thought that was my job.
Sorry.
Oh God! All these you see, that's what happens. You have one lizard queen try to move in, and then another lizard queen just tries to take your space. But yes,
that's what Rebel Nazarene decided to remind us that they are reptilian overlords. Thank you so much for that insight, Rebel.
Yeah, she really wasn't a reptilian. She was I'm not for the monarchy. I'm happy she's dead. Yeah, I'm glad she's dead. I think she should have died a lot earlier, and King Charles.
Oh my, okay.
King Charles died earlier than that.
Okay.
He should die as soon as possible. We should get
a little much.
Well, hold on. Okay. Because I feel bad. Because someone was just mourning. Because I don't want to get. I'll go like this. We're gonna go because we're gonna. No, you're fine. We're gonna go back like this.
It's very contentious.
We're going to get ready to do outros.
It's very contentious. I think
James and myself.
I think Wildheart's feelings towards it is valid, whatever they are. I don't think we should suppress people in feeling what they feel. No, that's okay. It's just look, the monarchy. Like I said, there's people who absolutely love the monarchy. They're monarchists. They feel very strongly about it. There's Republicans who hate the monarchy. They feel very strongly about it. I think that everybody's opinion is valid. I have mixed feelings on this, but do try to understand that some people are very upset by the Queen's
I'm also trying to get Wildheart. Can you get me your channel? I should have it up.
My channel, yeah.
Well, I would just say to remember that if you have a problem with the monarchy as an institution, that's valid and that's one thing. But at the end of the day, they are just people, and they didn't sign up for this. It's something that they were born into. I mean, they didn't sign up. I would like to be the queen one day. It's just kind of something that's thrown in their lap, and
yeah, they were born into it, but they were born into it in a favourable way. Do you know what I mean? Like, you can't feel sorry for them for being born into the monarchy.
I don't feel sorry for them.
No, they get loads of land.
I don't have animosity towards them, I guess. I don't think them being the monarch is, I'm not seeing any type of ill intent there, to like rule over anybody. It's just kind of something that's thrust at them. But
and I will say, I keep on saying it's not about, because I see X music. It's not just about royalty to me. It's not about.
Well, this isn't a show
because
for
I
her.
think because it should be the comedians roast the people in power. It should be that the lay people can take pot shots of the people in power. My central thesis goes down to that it's snake salesmen like this motherfucker that take advantage of believers, that take advantage of he sits there whether he believes it or not, and just uses anyone's death as an advantage to try and say that this person is going to be the Antichrist. And so like I said, I think this guy sleeps tight, sleeps nice and tight. But yes, there's I do want to send out one more time though. Wildheart is another fantastic atheist, non-believing skeptic. I keep on saying that for all he's sitting there and he's like karaoke. You should watch him Socratic Method, just like Oz. He reminds me of that a little way. Is that don't underestimate. So sending love to everyone out there. I think only you are left, James. We have been Skeptic and Ranting on Is King Charles the Antichrist? What are your final thoughts?
Yeah, I think it's incredibly unlikely. Even if I granted the premise, even if Christianity was true and there was an Antichrist, I don't think it would be him, but that's just my opinion. But, like Mark was saying, first you'd have to establish that there even is a God and that Christianity is, before you would even get to worrying about who the Antichrist is. But yeah, it's something that Christians have done for a long time. Almost anybody who comes to worldwide prominence will be evaluated as a potential candidate. It's a very conspiratorial. It's a very I can't even think of the word.
Retarded view.
Very they're always suspicious of everything. Like they're always thinking there's always something going on under the surface, and a conspiratorially mindset. And you go down that rabbit hole, and then anything can happen. How do you tell what's real and what's not real? It's hard, and that's why we have people who come in here and subscribe to all kinds of silly belief systems. But it starts by going down that rabbit hole. Right. And the thing is, like, a lot of the people we deal with sometimes tend to be on the fringes, the more outspoken ones. But as Amy likes to point out, they really aren't that far off from regular mainstream Christianity. A few obscure beliefs, but a couple wrong turns and they can be right back to
but you can tell the classic Christians underneath.
Yeah, absolutely. So anyway, thanks guys for
all right, thank you so very much, James. And with that, and actually I'm gonna clickety clack, hold on, clickety clack.
While you're clickety clacking, can I just point out that your cat did a backflip?
Did they? Oh my god! I think they want to come over here, but there's nothing over here. Are you just gonna?
Well, they want to. Dance on the keyboard.
It is what they want to do. They want to say, I hope you all had a good time on this episode of Skeptic and Ranting. Is King Charles the Antichrist? Oh my goddess. Where tonight we watched a video from the channel Lion and Lamb Ministries called Messianic World Update.
Loonies and losers.
Loonies and losers. For a good time worth becoming the Antichrist over. This isn't even my final form. I think that was you saying that earlier, Mark. Though I want to thank my co-host, James W., along with our guest, Mark, Ding, Wolfe, Eden, and Wildheart, as well as the lovely people in chat, our awesome mods who make the stream so great, and fantastic viewers like you who make this channel even possible. If you enjoy the show, please do not forget to like, follow, or subscribe, because them kitties get to make more clawing sounds. But it's baby girl. You get your nails thinner. It's her way of getting a mani-pedi. But yes, like, follow, subscribe, because then you gain access to that bell icon, which when set to all will send you reminders to see our premieres or join our live streams. Or hey, why not leave a comment once the video's done? You can also leave a super thanks, and we will say thanks to you on the next episode, just like...
Did you do the last one?
A sending love to... If I can actually get it up.
Aha! UFO Jesus.
Who sends a $2 super chat or super thanks? A $2 super thanks from Atari Farian, who just says thanks. Well, there you go, Atari.
You're welcome.
Thank you so very much. You send thanks to us. We're sending thanks to you. And if you enjoyed this episode, feel free to leave a super thanks, and we will send the thanks right back to you on the next episode. After the show, the Skeptic and Ranting Discord server will be open for an after show, the link of which is in the description below, along with our fantastic channel members who you can become a member of by hitting that join button and getting naturally evolving badges. Though the best way to help us make even more fun content is by becoming a supporter and heading over to patreon.com/AB Newman. I am AB Newman, and we will see you all on the next episode of Skeptic Z. Good night, everyone.
Good night, guys.
Mwah!